I'm Renee Noor, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 Magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome to Power to Soar. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness. Welcome, family. Tonight is Wednesday, and that's right. This is the Global Women Wealth Warriors GW3 go live for our Wednesday after dark. My goodness, we've had a really full week. It's already have been like powerhouse because why? Because GW3 have gone absolutely live, and it's been incredible. And I know you heard that clip, Power to Soar Leadership Conference. We're coming up on our 5th annual Power to Soar Leadership Conference, August 19th through the 21st, right in Atlanta, Georgia. So you want to make sure you save your seats because my goodness, you thought last year was explosive. I am looking so forward to this year being even more explosive. Guys, we've not only been able to accomplish so many great things being from the clubhouse, that's right, from the clubhouse, and we've been able to bring our energy into your homes. This is our Wednesday after dark. And the great part about it, being a business owner, sometimes you all aren't able to connect with us when we have our master classes between 12 noon and 2, so what we wanted to do, we wanted to bring you some extra information. And this evening, from this point on, our Wednesday nights are going to be just wrapped around you, keeping you in mind. Again, my name is Renee Noor. I am the founder of the Global Women Wealth Warriors, as well as the GW3 Club. And it gives me such an honor to be here this evening. And not only is it giving me a great honor to be here this evening, I'm looking forward to us doing some great things together. So whether you may be on the clubhouse or where you may be right there on YouTube, as well as Facebook, just know, get used to seeing us on Wednesdays, because Wednesdays, it's not only for business owners, it's about you as well as the family members. We are all focusing on business life lessons after dark. And one of our greatest giants that I'm going to bring to the stage with me, not only have I had the opportunity of meeting this person right on the clubhouse, right in the clubhouse on this app. However, I've also had the opportunity of meeting them face to face. He is a true leader in the community, very passionate when it comes down to women, businesses, but most importantly, not only is he an inventor, he is definitely a man that's very passionate about changing lives. And it gives me such an honor and a privilege to welcome my dear friend. I absolutely love him. I'm just letting you guys know right now, the one and only Mr. Brad. Come on up here, Brad. Oh my goodness. Let me make sure I got my Brad here.
See?
Brad. I'm so
I know, and I told you you'd be able to introduce me way better than I'll be able to introduce myself.
Oh,
it's always my privilege to be with you. You know that.
Yes. You're just so humble. That's all there is to it, Brad. I mean, we've had the opportunity of getting to know each other. Has it been a year? Almost a year, right?
Almost. Yeah, I had the privilege of meeting you in Atlanta last year at the summit, which was just awesome. It opened up my eyes to kind of what really going on in the US, not being from the US. And then we got to hang in New York, which was the fashion show for breast cancer, which was just an awesome cause that I know that you're strongly behind, and so am I. So yeah, we've actually got to hang out twice, which is kind of
I
cool.
know. It's been like so special to have you in my life. How about that? I can say that, Brad.
Back
You
at you.
know, we've been able to help so many people in their businesses through this app called Clubhouse. And I know
Yeah.
for those Facebook watchers and listeners, they're still kind of, some of them are still like, I don't want to deal with this Clubhouse thing, right?
Right.
Isn't
I
it? I'm
know.
telling the truth, right?
I know a lot, but you're right. It's been an app that's allowed people like yourself and people like myself, which have got experience and many years, and we don't want to say how many behind us, but we had the opportunity to impart some knowledge, to steer some lives, to make a difference, and particularly at a time where I felt like we all needed it. You know, it's established a couple of years ago. It was the middle of the pandemic. Everyone was kind of isolated, lonely. But the wonderful thing was everybody had more time. So
Mhm.
this ability to be able to give time back to community, which I know stems very clearly for you, but for me as well, it's just something that Clubhouse, that's the gift that Clubhouse has given us. And I got to meet you,
I
another
know.
wonderful woman.
Oh my God. I have to say, thanks to Kate and Daniel. Kate and
Yeah,
Daniel brought us together, Brad,
yeah.
and I'm still looking forward to meeting those two. And hopefully we can bring them to Atlanta, in August.
I'm
But what
working
I,
on it.
yeah, I know that would be wonderful, wonderful. I had the opportunity of meeting relationship or individuals such as Tash Queen. I don't know if you remember the first
Hmm.
time Tash came into the room with us in Clubhouse. Oh my God. She not only made me cry, oh yeah, she made me cry. And since then, we have been not only connected, Brad, I absolutely was honored to go to the soil of Tanzania where she was from. And oh, Brad, she's such every bit of like 5'4". She said, Renee, when I meet you, I'm gonna pick you up off the ground. And guess what? She did just that. She lifted me up off the ground when she met me. And
No,
one
that's funny.
thing I know it's amazing. I can honestly tell you the clubhouse has brought genuine relationships together. Genuine
Yeah,
relationships. It's almost like we've been knowing each other for years, for
yeah,
years. And here we
yeah.
are now. I can't let you go. You're a part of my life. You're a part of my friends' lives. And you know what's so great about that? It's because we are right here connected, our souls, right?
Completely.
Yes.
Completely. And that's, when there's alignment between people, it's incredibly powerful. And when people have got purpose as you do, and you can then enroll the rest of us behind your purpose, that's just a magical thing. And Renee, I'm inspired every time I spend time and space with you.
Oh, Brad, you don't want me to start crying on you right now, do you?
No,
Please.
no, no, no tears.
Well, Brad, you have definitely been that man that brought so much wisdom to the listeners. I mean, remember, we were moderating the $1 Million Business Club, and how many people came through that room? Oh, my
I think it
goodness.
was something like 2.5 to 3 million people came through in the
Oh,
85 days that we went. Something
wow.
ridiculous. Yeah, it was like a crazy, crazy number.
I know, right? We've met great giants, such as, like, I
Hmm.
know for sure, Dr. Forbes Raleigh. In addition to
Hmm.
that, Sharon Letcher. Oh my goodness, even Grant Cardone. I mean, all of these names came right through the amazing clubhouse room, thanks to Daniel alongside with Kate. So now we have been impacted by those icons, and now they're a part of our lives as well. So, Brad, share with us, like, with all of these amazing relationships that you've been able to cultivate right from the clubhouse. What have you been able to do even outside of our connection? Please share.
I'm going to, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. So, through Clubhouse, through the connections I've made, and through the fact that the world it was small, but it became much smaller because all of a sudden, as I said before, people had time, but there was time for some real connection. I started a organization, and It's called Zadasi, which is Zadasi. And it's a startup, so we're still getting there with our web pages and all the rest of it. But fundamentally, what it is that it's a safe, powerful forum for female founders and women in business to come in and share in network, share in experience, and for the curriculum to take them to the next level of whatever that inflection point is for them. And then I've created a private equity fund attached to it that's solely going to fund females that go through the program, that are ready to be funded in that first stage of capital to come in. So without the connections, without Clubhouse, without the wonderful people that I've got aligned to our vision and mission at Zadasi, we wouldn't be able to be already making the difference in 6 months that we are. We've put 30 plus people through the program already, and it's just starting. And it's a magical experience when you can significantly impact someone's life and change their trajectory and give them the power to soar. I mean, you use it all the time, but it's really that. It's breaking down the barriers that exist and having a balanced approach of both men and women in the equation, because it needs both voices, and it's breaking barriers and it's changing lives. And, I'm a father. I've got 2 young daughters. Both want to be entrepreneurs. My wife is a very successful entrepreneur, and I see the struggles that she goes through. And if I can change the pendulum 1 degree to make it easier for my 2 daughters who both want to be entrepreneurs, then that's my purpose. And that's what I'm busy doing through all my experience and connections.
I absolutely love it. Just hear you speak with so much compassion, and very much so you're very passionate. And I look forward to
Yeah.
not only meeting, in the future, your family. We both have something in common. We have to do our part because we have to make sure we're doing everything for our girls. We're doing everything
Yes.
for our girls. And as I think about my daughter as she's approaching her final year in college, it's just like, oh my goodness, that's why we have to be so intentional with our time. And I love
Yes.
how you just truly embrace these opportunities to really cultivate long lasting relationships. Can you share with us how important is it for you? We were talking about this earlier today, community. How important is it to have a community and also to build a community with integrity and loyalty? Please share with us.
I think it's everything. And I can tell you that community to me is broken up into different tribes. I have different. And, moving to the US 3 years ago, I lost a massive community that I had in Australia, and I had to rebuild. And the fact of rebuilding emphasized the need of having these communities around you. But in order to have a community that's in integrity with you, you got to be very clear about what it is that you expect and what it is that you want, and then what it is that you're prepared to give. Understanding that it has to be 360, because I've got some very strong voices in my community that I know I need to go to when I need to go to them. And then I have people that will always push me up. I have people that will level me. I have people that I could go for a drink with. I have people that I'll go for dinner with. And all of that to me is community. And all of that in terms of being a good father, a good husband, and a good human being is imperative. And it's all surrounded by having the right people around you. You don't need a million people, right? That's the other thing about community. If you've got a really strong core network of great tribe of people that are there and you can rely on them, you don't need 100. You need 10, maybe,
I,
because having 10 people that have got your back is so powerful rather than 100 people that will just lip service.
you're giving me chills. You're giving me chills, Brad. You're warming my heart because I always say it's not about the quantity, it's all about the quality. The quality. And I always say, I step it up 2 more. Have 12. Even Jesus Christ had 12 disciples. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
Unfortunately, he got down to 3 and then 1 betrayed him. So it's almost like the law of averages, right? The law of
Right.
averages. The lesser your group, but the most, when they're strong, they make the stronger impact. Another example, I know you remember this movie, 300, the Men of Sparta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
my goodness. They went up against thousands and thousands and thousands of people, but it was 300 of them that stood strong, that stood there to support each other. So, as Brad said, it's not about having a quantity, focus on the quality. And guys, oh, I stress this. You're going to always have somebody that's going to want to try to break down that strength of a group. You cannot let those shiny objects you cannot let those shiny objects get in the way of those relationships. Is that correct, Brad?
Oh, 100%. And what I have found, in all honesty, is that it's letting go of the shiny objects that makes the group even stronger, because then you're very directional and you're very intentional with your time. Like, money, everyone, and believe me, I've had money, I've lost money, I've made money, I've come back. I mean, it can be, you can come and get it, but the one thing you can never get back, and people say it, but I want people to really understand and take it in, you can't get back your time. It's a commodity that cannot be replaced, and it's the only commodity that can't be replaced. So choose and be intentional with who you want to spend your time with, because the gift that you have been given is your time. And if people don't understand and respect that that is a gift, it's a gift, for Renee, for you to be gifting me your time now, and I respect it. And people need to feel the same way. Anyone in your circumference, anyone in your tribe needs to understand that you are gifting them your time, and then you need to understand they are gifting them your time, their time as well. And then you are in integrity, and then you have wonderful people around you, like I've got with you.
I love that. I do love that. You know, you're speaking like again, rights connecting with me every day when we wake up because our tribe wakes up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Thanks to Glenn Lundy. I always have to give him respect. One of the greatest things
Yes.
leaders can always do is give respects to other leaders, right? And Glenn Lundy has such a worth ethics that totally have changed my life. I would say this also, Brad. I'm a different woman because of what he had laid down and because he showed us, hey, I can start right in my closet and create a momentum, not only a momentum, but a movement. But you always have to focus on the consistency. Now, people will come and people will go. But for those who really have your true heart and for those who really have the true grit, because that's what this takes, grit, right? And compassion and also consistency. I mean, he has the Scott Simons, he have the, the Liza, as well as he has Lisa Copeland. He has so many people that have been there with him from day one. And it's just a true, true blessing. And as I share,
I saw something really interesting, because I don't know Glenn personally, but I
yes,
saw something and it's really stuck with me. There was a picture of him flying on a private airplane with Grant Cardone, where he was, I
yes,
think, flying from Miami to LA, whatever it was.
that's
And it
right.
was something like 5 years ago, I was bankrupt, or 5 years ago, I didn't have a dollar in the bank.
Mm.
And today I'm flying on a private airplane with a billionaire. So you got to respect that. Whichever way you cut it, you just got to respect that.
That's why, a lot of people are going through some heartaches. They've gone through heartaches and continuously are. That's why we're talking about the real life experiences. You
Yeah.
just have to trust the process. Amelia Antonetti is one of his other dear, dear friends, as well as Danielle Delgado, another amazing giant. And when you have
Hmm.
those names that truly have seen you evolve, like you said, from 5 years, guys, that's where you know for sure you just have to stay grounded. You have to stay focused and consistent because distractions, Brad, talk to me about that. Is there any such thing as real distractions?
Oh, distraction. I can tell you that I am that person where, like, I see that shiny object and I get distracted very, very easily, just in my nature. I'm also the type of person where I'd like to start multiple businesses or do multiple things at once until I realize that if I just focus on the one thing and I put all my energy and attention and 100% effort behind just doing the one thing and doing that one thing well, boy, can I make a difference, can I make an impact, and can I make money? So I have to put blinkers on. And that's where I said, I've got trials of people that will pull me back and they say, Brad, stop, right? You don't need to be doing that. Focus on the one thing. Because if you do, and you do that well, then everyone has a zone of genius. Everyone's an expert on something. I don't care where your background is or who you're from or whatever your age is. You have a unique story. You have a zone of genius. You have something that absolutely you can market and you can sell, but you just need to concentrate, find out what that is, and then you just work hard. And if you work hard and you focus, the world is absolutely your oyster.
I love that. I absolutely love that. We all have our unique gifts, we all have our unique skills and talents, but stay focused on that one thing. And if you stay focused on that goal, you're going to be able to overcome those obstacles. I think if you stay focused on your goal, Brad, there's really no obstacles. There's really no obstacles as long as you stay focused.
Well, the obstacles will come and go. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. The obstacles are always going to be there because that's life, right?
Yeah, that
It's
is
just
life.
things are going to happen, and things are going to happen to us. But you're right, Renee.
Mm-hmm.
If you can block those things out, right, and deal with the
Yes.
fact of them and not the story that you tell yourself behind about them, and just deal in the fact, and then put a full stop. So this happened, full stop, nothing more,
Yes.
right? Then that gives you
Mm-hmm.
room to stay focused on what you need to be doing. And the more people that don't go into and allow themselves to go into that inner voice, that inner story, that thing that keeps going, driving you crazy, the person talking to you, and then you realize, well, the person talking to me is me. So if the person talking to me is me, can't I just shut me up? And yes, you can. Block it all out. Stay focused.
I love it. I love it. You're a genius. You have always, every time you spoke during our marathon, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, we would literally be on there for hours and hours and hours in the wee
I know.
times of the morning. We had everybody from every last um, time zone. We had people from Africa, we had people from Australia, okay, we had people
Mm-hmm.
from Hong Kong, from all over. And what an amazing group of moderators. And now we're friends, and it's just been amazing. It's been a true blessing. So, Brad, here we are, not too far away. August, we'll be seeing each other again. And I'm looking so forward to it. I know, right? I'm looking so forward to it. Oh my goodness. Well, this year, Brad, what's going to give us even more of a warm, fuzzy feeling inside? Not only we're honoring our 100 men as well as our 100 women, but this year we're going to do something a little special. We also are going to have the young future leaders that's going to be there with us. And remember last year, what an amazing group of talents! Those the girls from Haiti.
Oh
So,
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
that
they were
beautiful?
gorgeous. Oh, they
Ah,
were absolutely gorgeous. That was right. At the fashion show, those girls from Haiti. Yeah, they were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. When they
yes.
sang, didn't they sing at the
Well,
fashion
this year
show?
we're going to have 50 girls with us, alongside with 50 young men. And I'm looking so forward to it. And, just to really
Wonderful.
understand the importance, we're just vessels. That's all we are. We're just vessels that God used us so we could keep paying it forward for future generations. And I pray by then, Miss Janae will be with us as well. So you get an opportunity of meeting my beautiful daughter. I would love for her to meet you.
Oh,
Trust
God,
and
I would
believe she
love
knows
that.
about you though already.
I know, no, I would love to meet her. And Renee, to say some one other thing is like with Zadasi, because we're concentrating, it's obviously just females and women, but we've also got a youth program that we've started. And so a wonderful friend of both of ours, Chandra Cox, is heading up the youth division. And she's written a whole curriculum because there's a big, in her opinion, because she's got the experience in mind, there is a big miscommunication in terms of education for young entrepreneurs, and particularly young entrepreneur females who want to go into business. Um, and she has written an entire course curriculum for them, because it's if we can hit the youth and we can get them to learn the lessons that you, Renee, and I've learned through our lives, and the difficult lessons that we've had to learn, and we can impart that knowledge at an early stage. Imagine being 16 and having someone like Renee Noor being able to impart the knowledge that she's had from being how successful she has been to you, all those lessons that she's learned through her life, and then those educational pieces about what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and you can get it at 16. I mean, that can change the world. So that's where I love those. I love those youth last time, and I'm very happy that you're doing something again with youth, because I'm
Oh, yeah.
with two daughters, I'm very passionate about that.
Oh, yeah. This is our fifth year anniversary. And already this year, we've been able to pour into over 200 phenomenal girls, which will be headed to New York City for the 1st of June. And with these young ladies, we're going to also be looking forward to taking 10 of them with us to Dubai for our annual trip. And that'll be in January. This has been a
Wonderful.
sweet spot. Sweet spot. I gather now with our organization for the past 12 years. It's amazing how much time have gone by that we partnered up with one of the other organizations. And I kid you not, it's so funny, Brad. When I was working with one of the mothers, now I'm working with their son. 12 years have gone by, and now we're working
Wow.
with their children. And the greatest part about that, Janae was also able to work with them as well. So that's how we have to pass that torch down. When it comes down to women empowerment as well as working with our underrepresented children, that is such a sweet spot for us. And I'm grateful to hear that you're doing it as well. We cannot have enough organizations to pour back into our youth. And the greatest part about it is we have to save more people. So you hear our
Yeah.
voices. If you are someone that's listening to us that would love to support the future leaders as well as powerful women all over the world and powerful men, please DM us. We love to connect with you, as well as we love to have you a part of this movement. We just came back from Africa, Brad. Africa.
I saw the pictures. I'm like totally jealous.
Oh,
It just,
don't be
it looked. I know, but I wanted to be there because it looks. A, everyone looked gorgeous, but B, it's just something I think that's just such a special. And I was born in South Africa, so Africa is like in my heart. I'll always be in Africa. Like it's just something that's always going to be there. As much as I'm an Australian now,
Yes.
American, but yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Brad, we manifested that trip going to Africa, from the app, right there from the app in January. It's like I saw my big toe in the soil of Africa, of all places. And by January, not only were we able to go last year, we had the honor of going back in March. And in March, we were able to impact the lives of a village. I saw there was
I
a
love it.
need for women, and one of the rooms or one of the spaces that we experienced, the ladies had one sewing machine to like 20 different homes, 20 different family members, right? So with that, we were not only able to 12x their business, but we were able to also get another group into the fashion show that we produced. We had them a part of the experience, and I know for sure we've impacted their lives. Currently, right now, they're so excited. They're really doing so much, right now they're creating even more. It's always important to give hope, no matter what.
Yes,
Give hope with your prayers. And when you know more, as our Malika Starr would say, it gives you the opportunity to do more. And that means so
absolutely.
much to us. So I'm looking forward to you, my friend, joining arms again. I'm looking forward to holding you again.
Oh,
Yes.
cannot wait. Cannot wait. I cannot. It's just, yeah. If you're hearing this and you want to get details, find out the details. I don't know how many tickets would be left by now, but it is the place to be. It is the event to go to, I can assure you. And it's just, you're going to leave feeling a changed and different person for the better. How
Yes.
can you not want to be a part of that?
But this time we're going to be at the Thompson. The Thompson, you already know how much I love rooftops. That's where we met,
Yes.
Renee.
Yes, you do.
We met on a rooftop, guys.
That's
And
so
oh my
funny.
goodness, it was a sensational time when we connected the first time. So we're going to be at the Thompson Hotel right in Buckhead, and we're looking forward to not only bringing those faces, those familiar faces, but this time, Brad, we have totally grown. Oh my goodness! Oh, we
So
have
exciting.
so many amazing women and gents that's going to be joining us. But Pastor Jeff will definitely be in the house. Malika Starr will definitely be in the house. Lolita Anderson, woo! She will be in the house as well. And
Love
again,
it.
so many, and of course, Chandra Cox. Oh my God, I love that girl, right? So we're so happy to have our familiar faces, but also we're going to have some new faces. And it's always about evolving, embracing,
Yes.
expanding, and just really doing our part in, making positive opportunities and creating masterpieces so therefore we can fulfill this world that God has given us. So, Brad, we're I don't even want to let you go, Brad. Not at all, because I'm having such a great time with this conversation. I want you not only to communicate, let everybody know how to get in contact with you, but also, Brad, please, with your words of wisdom that only the Brad can do, from an entrepreneur, from an investor, from a man supporting women as well as our youth all over the world as well. In addition to that, just being a passionate father and a loving dad, I would love for you to pour into us with some words of wisdom for this segment with real life experiences.
All right. Thank you. So, the easiest way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I know my surname is long, so if you're listening, I'll spell it. It's Brad Menachemson, Menachemson, and then I can steer you from there. Some words of wisdom. Take a breath. Nothing happens overnight, I can assure you. There is no such thing as an overnight sensation. It takes grit, it takes determination, it takes hard work, it takes focus. And then once you've got all that, you will get the passion. A lot of people say you need a why to get started in something. I'm telling you, all you need is to get started. It's those that get up off the couch, it's those that want to make a difference, it's those that manifest, it's those that pour back into community, it's those that build community, and it's those that want to leave this a better place than we inherited it from our forefathers. Those are the people that are going to be successful and happy in life. Money is immaterial. Happiness comes from giving back to others. And purpose has to be greater than yourself. If your purpose is greater than yourself, then you will spend your life fulfilling it and you'll be happy doing it. Don't limit yourself. Live in a world of possibility where everything is possible. Understanding it's only not possible due to self-limiting belief and if you put the barrier in front of it. If you do not put the barrier in front of it, if you believe in yourself, then anything is possible. And that's the world that I want you all to live in because it's simply wonderful. Thank you, Renee.
Oh my goodness. What amazing words. Thank you, Brad. Thank you so much. Whew, man, and he is so true. Your words have just really moved me. You see, I came back a different person. My goodness, I did. But I'm just so grateful to have you in my life as a friend. And I'm looking so forward to seeing you here in Atlanta. However, I may be headed to Dallas beforehand, so maybe we can see each other there. We
You
have
let me know.
opportunity to see Mr. Michael Butler. We had an opportunity of interviewing him earlier, which he will be with us as well in August. And I love Michael. I have to ask
Oh,
this
he's a
question though,
wonderful
Brad.
human being.
Yes,
Yes.
he's a great human being. Your book. When is your book coming out? We need to read more about you. When is your book coming out? We need to know. When is it coming
I'll
out?
tell you a secret just between me and you. I
Okay,
used to do a
secret.
lot of international travel, right?
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, I found it very easy to write on an airplane. I have written 3 books, but never published any of them, even self-published. I know it's like when I was traveling, I just wrote it, and I've got like 3 books written, but I'm not ready yet to publish. I haven't yet accomplished what I need to accomplish for people to pick up a book and read it from me.
That's not true. Brad, you just said it just 2 seconds ago. Release that book. You know why? We are our ancestors now. We are the new ancestors, right? And
That's true.
every last one of us, we have a and it's important for us not only to hear your story, it's time for you to allow us to read that book from the library. All right, Brad? So we have 2 publishers in house, not one, but 2 publishers. We have Michael Butler and Malika Starr.
Yes,
Malika
I
Starr,
know.
your,
Now the
your
pressure's
girl right
on.
there, Malika Starr. She's like, oh, Brad, I love you. Yes. So we got to get this book out of you. I already asked Michael to give me like a challenge. So my goal is to help as many soon to be authors to become authors at least by August. Whether it's an ebook, whether it's a short book, whatever the case may be, it could be an audio book. I want you to work hard on doing that. All right.
All right, my dear.
All right. I
Anything for you. You
appreciate
know
you.
that.
I love you so, so much, guys. This man knows and his wife knows I love him. Yes. Well,
Love you
again,
more.
thank you again,
And it's
Brad,
been
for
my
being
pleasure. Thank
here.
you.
You're so welcome. Thank you. And have a great evening. Oh,
Thank you.
guys, you just heard the amazing interview with not only Mr. Brad, but man, he's just a man of so much wisdom and so much charisma. So, as soon as we come back, we're going to be bringing our second phase to what we do on Wednesday nights. Not only is it about real life, it's about real estate as well as relationships. And next up, we'll have the one and the only Miss Lolita Anderson right after this. Welcome back, beautiful ones. Oh my goodness. This is a special evening. It is because it's Wednesday night. This is our launch for our very own Business Life Lessons After Dark. It's important for us to continue on connecting with all of those business souls, no matter where you may be. One of the greatest things we realized, we are always on from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we launched this week right out of the clubhouse into your homes. And as we continue on pouring in not only knowledge, but education and so much fun, we wanted to do something a little bit special. We extended our time, so therefore we can be with you from 6 to 9 for these business life lessons after dark. And we had the greatest interview with a dear friend, Mr. Brad. Oh my goodness, my brother from another mother and sister, but absolutely a genuine soldier in the world, as he's so compassionate about impacting the lives of others. And now it's time for me to welcome my dear, beautiful sister. She's absolutely our mayor of the Global Women Wealth Warriors. Not only she's into real estate, she's in management. She is that 7-star luxury brand when it comes down to hospitality, and she truly knows how to service the community. Without further ado, let's bring up the one and the only, our amazing Miss Lolita Anderson.
Oh, hello. How are you, Renee?
I'm doing great, Lolita. How are you doing?
I am doing terrific. It is such a pleasure to be here with you tonight. What a pleasure to hear Brad, my favorite person ever.
Yes.
I
Brad is a gem. He's really a gem. Isn't he a gem? I absolutely love Brad as well.
Amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah, you had the opportunity of being one of our keynote speakers for the Power to Soar Leadership Conference right alongside with Brad. And oh my goodness.
That was it. I enjoyed Porsche.
What did you say, Beauty?
I said that was awesome. I love being at Porsche and that whole excitement going around the racetrack. I was standing on the sidelines cheering for you guys, but that was wonderful.
Yes, it was. It was a dream come true. Well, Lolita, one of the greatest things I adore about you, you have been a woman on the move since I've met you. Not only have you traveled the world as a global runway model with Ebony Fashion Fair, you are a mother of 2 beautiful, oh my goodness, beautiful queens. That's what they are, queens who's servicing our community in the service. But you also have been able to be that boss lady when it comes down to serving the community. Beautiful. How do you do it all? Oh my goodness. I know we need to know that. How do you manage everything, Lolita? Please share.
You know what? We are champions winning on purpose, Renee. You know I'm going to say it. We are champions winning on purpose because champions win on purpose. I stick to the process. I stick with my crew. And as Brad was saying, I have a core. They call them your core team. I call it my crew. And that's how we work. I think sometimes you get frustrated because you understand what the process is and you get so passionate about it because again, because you're a gatekeeper out here in the community, how important that is to be able to serve others. It really is. And I heard everybody throughout the day saying that we're just so unselfish about our gifts and our talents and how it impacts others on a daily basis. It really does. And that's what I appreciate about the GW3 team is that we are passionate, we are relentless about sticking to our process and serving our community as well as serving ourselves. So I do it because every day in every way, how I impact others is really how it reciprocates and impacts me.
And you do it well.
Absolutely.
Every time I see you, it's like you're a runway model. You are always like on performance. You are strutting and just serving the world with that fabulous flower, which that's your signature flower, beautiful. But I want to say we appreciate your regalness. We appreciate the royalty, and you always know how to deliver. And thank you, my sister. Thank you. So today we're talking about real estate. We're talking about what's going on in that space. And I know, Lolita, that is your sweet spot. Not only is that your sweet spot, I understand you have some dynamic individuals that's going to be joining you to also have a deeper dive in that conversation. Is that correct? Absolutely.
Oh, I am so excited. I have some amazing. Go ahead.
What you said?
Please, I'm sorry. Yes. I think we're just having a little bit of tech issue. It's raining on this side. I do apologize, but we're gonna definitely get our information. Absolutely. So I have Gia, the house goddess, that's coming with us. I have Caesar and Melissa, They are from Innovating Group. They're developers, builders, and there's a beautiful Gia right there.
Hey, Miss
She
Jill.
builds houses and
What's
everything.
up? Hello. It's been a minute since I seen your
Yes.
beautiful face. Look at you.
I know. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And go ahead, Miss Lolita.
Yeah, and also I have the beautiful Sheila Tucker, and she is the talk show host for 108.9 and here in Georgia, and I'm so excited to have her here with us and to talk about what she is doing. We both work very closely together with a lot of things in the community, and you need your tribe like we have now. And all these beautiful ladies have had major impact in the community with this housing crisis, with the not crisis, because you know we absolutely at the end of this.
Well, I love Miss Sheila. Hey, Miss Sheila, how you doing, beauty? Hey, beautiful, how are you?
Hello, ladies. How are you?
Awesome, awesome.
Great. It is
yes.
so awesome. Also, opportunity here to come on with such greatness.
Well, I know we're looking forward to hearing from you. And then who else do you have, Miss Lolita?
So I have Cesar Contreras for Innovating Real Estate Group. Again, they're builders here in Georgia and the outskirts. And there is Cesar right there.
Hey,
Cesar
oh
in the house. And his
like,
beautiful sister, I think Melissa, is somewhere near him.
Oh, good
I'm
afternoon.
waiting on Melissa. Yeah, we got to add her in. Let's add her Melissa. There she goes.
I got my whole crew here. I feel good.
well, you know what, Lolita? I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to learn from this particular segment.
Listen,
Guys,
I have something to say.
what do you have to say? Tell us.
I have something to say. I am very blessed and excited to be surrounded by so many powerful women. I'm the only man.
Oh,
That's how
we
we
rule
do
the
it.
world, right?
I am the only man. This is how it is. I love it.
I love it. I love it. So what I'm gonna do, Lolita, I'm gonna turn it over to you. You guys do a wonderful job, and I cannot
Bro, I'm
wait
gonna call.
to
I'll
hear
hit you
from
up
you guys,
later.
okay?
I hate you up later. I'm gonna call, bro.
Sounds good. I think Cesar is
Okay, I'll meet you guys there. All right, I'll meet you guys there.
Okay, it's Cesar. Melissa, get Cesar.
I'm
Thank
calling
you
him.
so much. I think we're good.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
guys.
Lolita. Take it away, beauty.
Technology kicked me hard.
Oh, it's okay. We're here. So I want to make sure that we're on the page so we can see your lovely faces. That's so important because I don't think people in the marketplace has an opportunity to really see how this train really moves. And so I want to start off with an introduction first. I guess I can start off. I'm Lolita Anderson, LA Properties. And we already know I'm going to say we are champions winning on purpose because champions win on purpose. I come from the wheelhouse of real estate property management, tenant placement, specializing in special programs, corporate housing, single family, multifamily. And my goal is to always provide suitable housing and services to the community that I serve. So that does not just include regular individuals. I work with a lot of seniors. A lot of people may have disabilities, veterans. I've housed over 3,000 veterans, and that was in conjunction with my main man over here, Cesar, and his companies that we've been collaborating for the last almost 10 years. And of course, his lovely sister, Melissa, and of course, Gia, House Goddess, who is here. I'm going to have everybody please introduce yourself. I'm so excited because these are some good relationships here. And I'm going to let you guys go ahead and we can start with you, Gia. Tell us what you do out here, and you wake up like this or what?
Hi, I'm Gia, aka Gia the House Goddess. I am a real estate investor and also a mentor and a coach. So I started in the industry as finding properties for builders and other investors, off-market properties. I specialize specifically in tax liens, tax deeds, pre-foreclosure, so creative real estate, distressed real estate. And from there, I used to sell them to other investors, other builders. Then I started retaining those properties, fixing and flipping them, buying and holding, building new construction from the ground up. So currently I have a pretty large portfolio in the Atlanta area. And now I'm showing other people how to get into the market, specifically tapping into tax liens, tax deeds, pre-foreclosures, just everything real estate, and as well as Section 8 properties, where that's how me and Lolita met. She rents out a lot of my properties and manages a lot of my rental properties that are on the Section 8 program. And I only do rentals to low income Section 8 communities. So yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. And thank you so much for the opportunity. If anybody's interested in any of my services, especially learning how to get into the real estate market and learning different strategies, I teach others how to build wealth through real estate, because real estate changed my life. I went from $0 to 1.3 million, starting with absolutely nothing. And I never looked back. And here forward, I'm now investing also in Zambia, Africa. I just acquired, was given 200,000 acres of land in Zambia, Africa. So I'm starting a mining project there, as well as we're going to be doing like a few water wells for the community, some housing, and mining. We are in one of the richest copper producing areas in Africa. The lands that I currently acquired has several different minerals. So yeah, super excited about my Africa project. I'll be there in May. And yeah. You're muted, Lolita.
Uh-oh.
Okay. There you
I don't
go.
know why I muted. I said, I'm not sure. I said, I'm surprised you and Renee didn't run into each other in Africa.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
I am so excited about what you do. You do so many cool things. Please, please go ahead, Caesar.
All right, so very excited to see all these women acting out and being extremely involved. I love it. You know, usually, Lolita, thank you for bringing us part of this, because in our past, it's always been a really good mix between women and men. But I love seeing that all these powerful women just taking over, right? I'm extremely happy to see this. It's a huge movement. It's a good thing going. So, firstly, excuse, I'm in a car, right? So, traffic kicked my butt. Didn't make it enough. Didn't make it back to the office as early as I thought I would. But my name is Caesar. Um, my background is multifamily, a lot of construction. I met Lolita. I was very blessed to come across her in a project we had back in Decatur, Georgia, a few years back, we'll say 5 to 6 years ago. And her and I connected, and we kicked butt. We put a property to stability in less than 4 months. Lolita, if you remember, back in Eastwick, we really expected the property to be 90% occupied in a year. We did it within 6 months.
Yep, 6 or 7
Between our
months.
construction, yeah. So between our partnership, between our construction partnership and your leadership, we were able to put a property to stability within 6 months. Unheard of, right? So from there, we kept going. We met up with, we came across CF Lane. We did it with with FCA. And ever since then, very similar to Gia. I respect what you've done, bringing a company to something to grow as far as all the different projects. I love the fact that you're in Africa. I'm from South America, Colombia. So I would really love to do something for my people in South America, but I'm not there yet. So props to what you're doing in Africa. But with Lolita and I and Melissa, who's also our designee and construction partner, we're able to do a lot of things as far as it comes to renovations, giving our tenants the right places to live, right? It all comes down to that. This is a different market for all of us, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of the process, and we're ready to just take it to the next level.
I love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Caesar. We're gonna go to Sheila. Sheila, please tell us again how our synergy, how our collaborations work to impact the community. Because like Caesar and G are saying, it is not just heads on beds. It is such as particularly with the pandemic, with COVID, we really needed our investors to be open and to do different creative things in the real estate world and that platform because there was so many people that were dealing with different impacts to all of this. So Melissa, please tell us, love, what you do, how we are connecting, and I'm so excited to have you guys.
Hey, well, good evening. It's nice meeting you, everybody. All these beautiful ladies here. I love the empowerment. My name is Melissa. I am Caesar's sister. I've been his partner in the construction and real estate industry for about a little bit over 10 years now. We started in the multifamily, started moving into residential, commercial, and flips as well. Like Caesar mentioned, we have our own portfolio as well as rental properties, and we also do a lot of heavy construction for investors. So that's really our background. If you guys need any rehab, any construction services, we love to, touch base again and see how we can help each other out. You're muted.
There we go. Sheila, please tell us. I'm still getting used to it. Miss Sheila Denise, tell us what you do. And we were on your show. I was so excited.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sheila, I'm so glad I'm finally getting to put a face to the name.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I am very excited to be on here with so many people who are very concerned with the community and the culture. Everything just is just awesome. As you all know, I am a radio personality. My show is called The Voltage. Um, I am an author. I am definitely our advocate. I've served with several different organizations that are impacting the community because I that once you become a leader in what you do, once you are impact, once you have been blessed and have a platform that has raised level, there needs to be a shift. So I am always looking for leadership not leader shifters, because the momentum that we need, COVID hit us hard socially, economically, it hit us in so many different areas, and we are really in a place now we can make a grand comeback and even looked at some of the things that did not work before that can possibly work better now. It has given us an opportunity to see what problems in the past though greatly affected COVID hit. So I'm just looking forward to hearing everything and being a part of the conversation. I like to ask deep probing questions, and um, I am just my heart is just rejoicing to hear so many great things that are going on. People that are actually in the trenches. So let's do this.
Lolita, I believe
Lolita,
you're
you
muted.
still on mute?
Guys, I'm gonna get it. Leader shifters. That is such a powerful word because when you're saying leader shifters, to me that's the gatekeeper. And when we're in business and you have people like Gia, like Caesar and Melissa, who when you see synchronized swimming, people don't see what's happening underneath the water. They just see these beautiful swimming caps and people looking all luxurious on top of the water. They don't see that you're kicking like a madman underneath, and all the systems and operations that goes into housing just one individual. So to people who may be tenants, who may be other investors who may not even understand even passive income to what that looks like, working with even special programs, even working with seniors. I work with so many owners, and I have to give again shout out to Caesar, his team, FCA, CF Lane, Miss Tori Cummings, who gave me my wings, and of course Dallas Smith out there that I have the privilege of working with out here again in the community. To you all, Gia, we've had so many different. I know we've had the mayor's office. Jonathan was trying to make it here. He has some other projects going on that I work with constituent services, and had the pleasure of having Caesar at that table with me, as always. And Gia, as an investor who not only has a diverse portfolio of Airbnbs, you switched a lot of your Airbnb to regular homes that we were putting on special programs. Is that correct? And when you did that, what I want the audience to know, especially renters, when we move in that direction, what has been the pros and cons for you as an investor working with programs? Because I want to be able to normalize, and that's my goal, is to be able to normalize programs so people understand that people who get programs, subsidy, or anything, they look like me and you. It's not something different right now, especially with COVID. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Gia.
Yeah, I would say the pros is definitely the guaranteed money that comes in, but it's twofold. It's guaranteed, but I also have the, you know, just being able to provide for needs, the place to live, because there are a lot of people, do not accept Section 8, or, has a bad stigma attached to it. So just being able to provide housing for people that, especially nice housing for people that otherwise may not have that opportunity. And like I said, as well as the guaranteed money. The cons, I would say, of course, we have, some bad apples out of the bunch here and there, but for me, the pros have definitely outweighed the cons. And yeah.
Because I believe there's some reputations out there with individuals that have subsidies, but that's where you become a subject matter expert. And we were talking earlier about diversifying your portfolio, and diversity is not just in your housing, but it's with the type of money that you're putting in there. And I have just learned to stick to my process. Do we make exceptions to different things, especially programs? And want people to understand that when we are making exceptions, I'm talking to Caesar, I'm talking to Melissa, I'm talking to Gia, and we're saying, hey, this individual has A, B, and C going on. Do they meet your regular criteria? They probably are not going to, because whatever has happened in their footprint in life has put it where they don't have a beacon score of 600. But even at the property that I manage here in Atlanta, Jerome Rose property, these investors, and I know I can say it's Bimbo Investment. She's a phenomenal investor, and it actually came from New Legacy Venture. But what happened is in the absolute thick of the pandemic, we had just pouring out of support from agencies. And what that means is you got to be able to move this process administratively. One, so you're made whole as an investor and owner. That's the main goal too. But also we have stable people that are thriving in the community. So Caesar, we've been down this road a lot. What's been some of the pros and cons for you? Because I know the audience, particularly dealing with even Atlanta Housing, who is the best in the country, not even the state, and with their process and systems and things like that. And I think with other agencies that I've partnered with, what I am looking for is, and I think what maybe caused some of the frustration, is that we understand the end of the road. when the process kicks in for individuals. So tell me in your opinion, what's been some of the pros and cons with this in this new housing
Yeah,
market?
for sure. So yeah, no. I mean, listen, every day things are changing, right? It's extremely hard to keep up with things as we were accustomed to back in the days. Now, so many things are just shifting, and we just got to keep up at this point. So, with Lolita and our construction team, of course, we've been able to figure things out as far as how do we keep up as far as due diligence, how do we maintain after people move in, our tenants. It sounds very good as an investor to go to market pricing, but the fact that Lolita is able to compete with market pricing and we're able to do the right inspections. I think that's the biggest thing, just kind of inspect through the process. And with Melissa's creativity, I know Gia, you mentioned something extremely important to do or to house to be able to deliver housing at a different level. That's extremely important because when we talk about Section 8 or anything government housing basis, we want to give pretty much the extremely builder grade what you see is what you get type of product. For us, things have been shifting a lot, and we're able to give the same product to a Section 8 or government entity,
Mm-hmm.
the same product to someone that's able to come through a program. And Lolita does a very good job. That's one of the biggest things for us is that she's a very important project, a partner, because in these projects, she's able to compete with even marketing pricing. So that's I would say that's the biggest pros. The cons is just not enough opportunity for us to create enough deals for everyone. We would love to be able to compete and have a lot more deals for everyone, but at this point, it's just very hard, and we have to be able to create and continue to have and build from what we have. But Lolita, you have it, you know what you're doing, and we trust you. At the bottom of
Well,
the day, we really trust you to what you have.
and see, that's vice versa, Caesar. Now, I don't. Again, I want people to really understand that this is a rare moment. It really is to have. I have three major players in the real estate game right here, and then we have the voice that's on the airways, Sheila, that's out here, that's speaking to even the assembly of individuals that we're able to impact. And I'm definitely looking to go to a global level on how we do that, and not necessarily in subsidy because you have other housing opportunities in other
For
countries and
sure.
other places. But what it does is it gives you that network to be able to come back and pour back into your own community. So I don't know, Sheila, do you have anything to add to that? Especially with the experiences that you're having out here because
Yeah,
you're here
well,
that
what I
often.
would, yeah, well, I'm very aware of the rise and increase in how the rent and mortgages are skyrocketing at this time. And I guess what I would like to ask actively is when something like this happens, and there are more people that are out there that are looking for affordable housing or being evicted from their house because they can't keep a roof over their head because of the economy. What is it that you hold grand platform in this arena? What are the chances that everybody can come together and build from there to make a greater impact? Because I know you're doing awesome things individually, but great coming together, sitting down with the city councils and the administration and the powers that be. What chances does that look like to make a greater impact? Because the numbers are running so high right now. And I know you're able to do what you can do. You're doing a great job, but collaboratively, together to make a greater impact. What does that look like? Or even if it's something that can be done.
That's a very good question, Sheila. And I think I have a couple of solutions. I'm all about that because of my footprint with the municipals, with city, state, federal program and relationships, including Lydia Clays, who's running for District 67 that you interviewed. My relationships, that's the only way I can do this, is with the relationships from those entities. I.e., like I said, with this particular community here, is 15 units here. Wellstar, the medical team, wanted this property, and my negotiation was, hey, let's deal with more solid money, if you will, but also being able to impact individuals. And the way we were able to negotiate this, we include utilities here. How is that helping individuals when we have, people know the Nicholas House and our house and other, short-term stays for individuals that are homeless that have been given vouchers? I've helped, so many people this year, but I couldn't have done it. And we need agencies to cooperate with our process. And I think sometimes the frustration comes because people are dealing with different mental health situations that are very real. And I had a situation happen recently, and I was online. A lot of people saw it. But what was so amazing about it, especially with the City of Atlanta Police Department and EMT, that they were so professional and so caring. I don't know. I understand there is a special training that they have to de-escalate a situation, so that one, the program, the wellness team is able to kick in and do what they're I would say supposed to do, but what's required in order to sustain housing for individuals. And I think the turnover happens sometimes when individuals are not equipped with all the services that are needed when they're dealing with those interesting, opportunities for housing and why they're in that housing platform. But to answer that question even more, we are at the table with these individuals. We've been at the table with them for quite a while. I know Caesar knew Nianchi Stallings from the mayor's office, from Mayor Bottom's team that passed last year. But he was incredible with what he was doing out here in the community, and well as Jonathan and that whole team with Curtis and all those. Not dropping names, but these are real people that are out here in the bridges, under the bridges, in the trenches, trying to help. So Sheila, they're out here. We're we get one, we win one, and everybody's needs is not four walls and housing. And this is where we're coming from, because those are hard discussions. Because we don't want to have somebody, hey, we got him in housing, here's his key, but he's not, or she's not sustaining for whatever. You could be dealing with people coming from foster care. You're transitioning out of foster care or other programs, and you do need help. This is why you have your local assemblies. This is why you have other community initiatives, because everybody they just don't need a key. They need other things to unlock their own self. So I hope I answered that question. But to me, what's making a great housing experience, or what's making the housing experience be more successful and people are thriving more? Because see, when you thrive, when individuals thrive as a unit, your communities thrive. You do. So you can add anything to this, but that's where what people call your sweet spot. That's where mine is. I want people to thrive and not get into situations where it's recidivism. That's my favorite word, recidivism, where you're recycling 3 months, 4 months later, we're back in that wheelhouse of despair. How do we help that as a community, as individuals, as shareholders out here trying to do it? Anybody? So I don't know if how much more money we can dump in to show the value in every aspect. We're working with a family now that one of my investors is renting his own personal home, and Kedrick Smith from K3 is doing a renovation on it. And this family had a tree fall on their home. They were displaced. But see, here again is the process. They had renter's insurance. See, because we can't save everything, because you have to do your part too, right? So we can help you. So because of that, they were able to sustain in temporary housing or accommodations until the house is ready. So that's them again doing their part. So go ahead, Caesar. I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
And
I think
Lolita, I think you're right. It's good to hear this type of. Go ahead, Caesar.
no, I don't. I'm good. I just I feel like everything that's been added to it's been extremely factual. I think the biggest thing for us is understanding how we're able to facilitate housing to people that are struggling, and how we can have landlords choose between a regular market person, right, to
Mm-hmm.
a housing voucher program that, at the end of the day, it's all a partnership, right? Like, we trust Lolita, we trust our team. From a construction background, yeah, sometimes if you don't know how to how this works, then this is not be part of it. But from Melissa's side standpoint, where she brings a lot of design and colorful ideas, but if we're not able to understand how this works, then it's just not going to work out for everybody. But the fact that we're able to compete with, not even compete, they're able to, like, it's okay for us to give housing to someone that's in a voucher program, right? Whether it's viewpoint health, living room, X or Y factor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's extremely understanding that we're okay to continue to be able to open up housing for people that are in need, because it's just not easy to. I mean, I try to put myself in people's shoes that depend on certain rental criteria. It's just not easy. I don't know how some of these people are doing it, to be honest. I don't.
Well, and they have the program Connect, and the program Connect is not, like you said, it's not just a subsidy that we deal with. We can go to Bankhead or Buckhead. We're the same person. We the same smile. With the same big old flower. I'm the same person, so it doesn't matter. But I do like the fact that we're able to connect, and we're able to connect to whatever it is that's needed in the marketplace, and that's what's important. And I really want
I love it.
to bring to individuals. Yeah, thank you, Caesar, because we cannot do this without you. Now, Caesar, you being quiet over there, but you are definitely a kind of a 4-in-1. Caesar was a regional property manager, builder slash all kinds, and which gives us all the secret sauce out here for real.
No, no, not at all. I mean, the biggest thing that I have is I have a great team. My
That's
partner
great.
Melissa. She Go ahead, Sheila. I'm sorry.
And
I think this is a great conversation to have because so many people do not understand the red tape and all the administrational things that go on the behind the scene. So I think this
mhm.
is an awesome conversation to help people because of pressure. Uh, People are getting they're getting a little uncomfortable. They get a little irate. So to have this conversation to help people to understand that behind every great work there is, as we spoke, process. And I love the momentum that you have, the passion you have in the momentum because the red tape and just a question with the economy going in the direction that it is at this time, have you all experienced a drawback or some decrease in funding for these great opportunities?
Gia, I'll let you have the floor. What do you have working up, Gia?
For me, it's just about, getting more of my peers involved into real estate. I think that's very, very important because, there's a huge wealth gap. And one of the ways to bridge the disparity of wealth is through real estate. Real estate has been one of the number one wealth builders 95% of the world's millionaires have been created through real estate. So just educating people more on the power of ownership, and looking at owning as an investment vehicle, and also coupling it with getting into low income or government housing like Section 8 and buying and holding. So just really it's really about the education piece for me, and communicating that to my peers and others, and coming together to invest in certain projects that create passive income and so forth.
See, I'll tell you guys one thing. The biggest thing for me is able to capitalize on some of these opportunities, right? And be able to, as a minority, and I say this as a Hispanic immigrant, be able to capitalize in some of these opportunities to be able to help others as we help ourselves. It's huge, right? So, um, I think what we have going on as a group, and I love what everybody's is bringing to the table and so on. But at the end of the day, I really love what's happening. I understand Section 8 and all housing voucher programs extremely well. Thanks to Lolita, I think that's probably one of the biggest partnerships I could ever continue to cherish. You know that. But I housing authorities at this point, or Section 8, or any low income opportunities are being bypassed by a lot of other different landlords. That there's a huge opportunity out there. You just gotta have the right people and have the right team. That's when LA properties come into effect. It's just like they know what they're doing, they know how to do it. Trust the process and make it happen. That's where we at today.
And with that, if I could add to that, Caesar, you have to manage it. And I think a lot of times you have investors that are coming from out of state, trying to manage a property in state, and you're going to miss something in the process. Because sometimes I feel like I've been catfished with some placements for real, because what's presented initially, and then it turns into something else. It's like, wow, explain this to Gia and Caesar and Melissa. Sheila, if it's one of her investment homes. And at the end of the day, what I have done, me as a business, I've increased and leveled up on my process. Because it's not just, it's like a relationship. It's not you, it's me. So I said, no, it's not you, it's me. Let me increase the process. Let me, get in here and say, how can I do a better vetting process? So what does that do? It's not saying, oh, we're not going to work with this person, that person. It's not that. It's my vetting. Because I know, Gia, you have a condo now that's amazing in downtown Atlanta that you've held for almost 6 months vacant to get the right tenant. Because all money is not good money. So we're not just chasing anything. It's true. Because you get the 1,800, but now
and that's one of the things.
But now you have.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things with something as awesome as this platform is what are some of the things that you run into mostly when you're trying to place families and stuff? What are some of the criterias that you most often run into that you would say to people that this needs to be done, or this is one of the things that you really need to pay close attention to when trying to get housing? Because I think when people hear affordable housing, I think they feel like there's really nothing required of them. But what are some of the things that you could put out here to help people to be more placeable, or have a more opportunity to get placed in situations?
That's a good question, Sheila. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier with normalizing housing, period. Whether it's corporate housing, I have several corporate housing or corporate shares that I have people from the airlines. I had the bass player from Def Leppard in one of my other houses with Lydia. in her corporate house, but it's normalizing programs. But it's also the criteria. The only difference is somebody with a subsidy and somebody with cash. It's just that you got a subsidy and you have cash. The individual still has to step to the table as an individual. It's no, are we making exceptions? Or is Gia making an exception to her normal criteria? She is. Is Caesar and Melissa doing that? They are. However, when we come in and we're starting negotiations, I think that's what has made me unique in this marketplace, is that we're trying to see the individual as individual and not what's on paper. On paper is, I'm telling individuals, do not allow a situation where you are being filed on. When people file an eviction on you, I don't think people are really understanding the process for real. Because
They're not.
They're not, because I have something right now I'm dealing with. I'm trying to explain even to the agency that you don't want to go there. So if we need
unless they know the process.
Well, if they know the process, it may take us 8 weeks, but you're gonna get out of here. You see, but so we can move away, we can move and get the right people in here, because the better you sustain that community, but even the quality that Gia has, I've been very conscientious on who is going here, because it sits and it's cozy and it's all this stuff, and you don't need any shenanigans, because I need Gia to want to get another one like that, because hers are ridiculous how she does it, like yours.
Right.
So that's
no,
why.
For sure.
I want people to understand, you normalize yourself, because you have a subsidy in a program that does not make you independent of coming and being a regular tenant, what they call it's not, because it's not just Section 8. I work with a lot of state programs as well, but it's the same thing. We need to support, we need individuals to understand that there's a process in place for real that will hurt you, and that's what's causing some of the pandemic and homelessness, because people are, again, that recidivism of going to court. You don't mind going the whole mile and being in front of Judge Frazier. Now you're dealing, and you're in a shelter with a Section 8 voucher or whatever that you're dealing with. When I'm just saying, when you have property managers like us that are really here for you, I'm just asking individuals to really understand the process, take a deep breath, okay, so we can serve you, because otherwise it's a very serious matter out here. So I think, to answer that question, I need individuals to understand they got to protect their rental history, because sometimes, as we know, sometimes you don't meet the friendly voice of Lolita. You're going online and you're sending people your money, market or not market, or market or program, and they didn't got ghosts with your money. Now what? So by the time you get to me, I'm hearing the same song. So I hope I answered that question for you, Sheila.
Yeah, hey
You
guys.
surely did. Gia,
Hey guys, sorry, I hate to interrupt, but Melissa and I have actually to be able to meet for a client. We have a client meeting at 8 p.m. So her and I both had to continue go. So I hate to be that guy, but I really wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity to be exposed and be part of this conversation.
Now, Caesar, how does somebody reach you guys?
I'm sorry?
How would someone be able to reach you and Melissa if they need construction, instructions, or whatever? Because you all do some phenomenal renovations and new construction out there.
Melissa, I'll let you.
Yeah, we can most definitely send out our business card, our virtual business card out to everybody. More than welcome to visit our website. We have social media, our personal cell phone numbers. We're constantly working 24/7. So you guys are more than welcome to contact us at any time. So I'll go ahead and share our virtual.
Okay.
One of the biggest things for us would be anything that needs to be done. Just obviously, Lolita is a go-to for everything. So if you just want to get access to new construction or any type of renovation or projects from us, Melissa handles a lot of designing, and she's an architect and also structural engineer that's able to handle a lot of projects. Through Lolita and in our partnership, we're able to get things executed.
Yeah, I know Gia mentioned she had a couple of projects going on, and also it's as well new construction. I'm sure you already have a team established, but maybe we can connect at one point and see how we can share ideas and see if there's any mutual connections that we can make as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure we can. I look forward to it for sure.
It was very nice
Likewise.
talking to you, ladies.
You too.
It was
Thank
a
you,
pleasure.
Lolita. Bye bye.
Sure. Melissa, we appreciate you.
Wonderful meeting you all.
Thank you. So
Yeah, I was just
again,
wanted to ask the question. Yeah, I want to ask Gia if she could give some pointers or some things that if someone was looking to be housed or placed, what are some of the things that they could do to give themselves a better chance or a better opportunity to do that? And that I think that's a question you both can answer. So, what things they would really need to pay attention to and have in order for them to guarantee housing?
I think it's a matter of just, them having a good history with their previous landlord, and just being honest and ethical, really, being forefront with, you know, certain things that they may be hindered by, so it doesn't come out on the back end because Lolita gonna find out. So you might as well let us know up front what you got going on, as opposed to us finding out on the back end. Um, I say honesty is definitely the best policy because we understand people go through things, and you know, um, so yeah, and we're considerate about that, especially when dealing with our community and our people. Um, so I would definitely say the honesty part, and just being open, honest, ethical, and maintaining a good financial, credit isn't always a factor, but you don't want to be just negligent, with bills and relationships, previous
yeah,
landlords, because all of that counts.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Gia, because again, I don't want to feel like because I have to answer to people. I get it. I'm LA Properties and consulting, but I only am who I am because of my partnerships with others. So when people catfish me, I keep saying that, and who you present at the door, months later, 2 months later, is something different. I.e., what can kind of guarantee you a better opportunity in stable housing is being stable in here, because you have a program that's not discounting you from being able to be a good neighbor. That is so important because the last thing I want is
Yes.
for people to be dismissive towards individuals. I'm not dismissive towards you. And so when you go into a community and it switches, these investors, this is not money falling from a tree. This is money out of their pocket, out of their accounts when damages are done, things like that. And it's not doggy. We ask the question because it's always a greater light at the end of the tunnel on this. But it's also a dimmer light when you have to follow your process. And that's what's hurting individuals right now that are dealing with, again, that recidivism in the rental market, because we are pulling the backgrounds. That's a standard procedure. I don't deviate from that. So when I see it and I see you have two judgments, and I think people are perceiving an eviction or dispossessory as something that the marshals came and put you on the ground. When they go in there and they file on you, that is a public record, like any certificate. When you go in and you get a disposition from the judge, that is on your public record. Okay, it really is. And so when you get to a situation where give me a chance, help me, owners. I mean, it's a landlord market right now. It really is. So when we're advocating for you guys, we can pick, choose, and refuse. We really can. So when we make an exception, I just expect people to be exceptional. Exceptions are not the norm. It's not, because we have to stick to our process. You have to. So I mean, that's what's making people's chances greater, is to be greater in your own self, in your own practices. You know, if you've been grumpy smurf with a owner and your landlord, make that situation right before you try to jump to something else. Because house hopping is not a good sign either. If I find out that you had just moved out somewhere 12 months ago and you're trying to move into Gia or Caesar spot, why did you move? That's the first question. Well, I just want something new. And I'm going to say, me too.
Realistically, yes.
I do too.
Yes.
So
there's no magic acts. It's real.
No, it's not.
Yes, realistic fact.
But we've made impact. We've made huge impact out here.
Yes, I believe that.
Yeah. We have.
Yeah, because it steers into. Yes, I believe, because it also, as I heard you say before, diversity. You're not only wanting adequate housing for people, but we also want safeties. We want safe parks and safe social communities for our people. So our communities, so it all plays a part. It's a greater, there's a greater impact once the housing is placed.
Yeah, because once you get your key, now we have to deal with everything else that makes you great. It makes us great, and I try to stay in my lane. I do. I know what my lane is, and I need a team around me. You know, the glam squad, everybody, Renee, that helps us to be our better self. So again, I thank you. I'm glad we have the crew here. Nora, thank you for the GW3 team for allowing us. I hope we added value to information. And Gia, thank you for being here. I wanted the picture of Gia with her with the sledgehammer, but I wanted to. I said she is bad to death for real.
Yes, you guys, you were dropping some serious knowledge, and you're going into that real estate. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you something. I know for sure. Please put some messages in the chat. You want to make sure you connect with these beauties right here. And my goodness, that Caesar and his sister, woo!
I know.
Full of energy. Guys, it's so important for you to really stay plugged into these individuals. Oh my goodness, it's so important to stay tuned in. So what I want you guys to do, Lolita, alongside with Sheila, as well as Miss Gia, I would love for you guys to give us at least some words of wisdom, how you can really, whether you are in transition, how people can get in contact with you so you can help them in their transition. How about that? Can you do that for us, please, Lolita, alongside with Sheila, as well as Miss Gia?
Well, I am LA Properties, and you can check me out on LA Properties and Consulting LLC. I understand I'm the first one on the search engine. And of course, my 10K card is on there, and you can see me at meetlolitaanderson.com. And that will take you straight to my website. And you can always call me. My assistant name is Sheila Flood. It is always our pleasure to be able to serve the community in any capacity we can. I am a subject matter expert, as they call me, in city, state, federal programs, market rent, corporate housing, and so forth. And whatever I can do to add value and understanding to your process. And of course, our unique audience with our seniors. I do get opportunities because I know we have a wait list sometimes. But again, with my backdoor relationships, I'm able to really do some things for senior opportunities for housing. So I appreciate that.
Yes.
I think with Gia.
Hey, I am Gia, the House Goddess. You can find me at giathehousegoddess.com or on Instagram at Gia the House Goddess. And if you're interested in learning how to invest in real estate, get started in different niche markets. I'm definitely a subject matter expert when it comes to just creative real estate and non-traditional investing. So yeah, hit me up.
Hi, I am Sheila Denise. You can reach me at sheplugin.com. Again, that's sheplugin.com. And I'm plugged into The Voltage, which is my radio show that airs second and fourth Mondays on power1089.com. I am definitely tagged into love, relationship, and community. And also, I have updates every fourth Monday. I call it the ICU, checking into the ICU for me to build our relationships, build our communities. It's definitely in an emergency situation, a very critical situation. So I do updates on community projects, community awareness, community, anything that's going to help us become better. So I plug into the power to empower. And again, that's shepluggedin.com, also Facebook, and thank you so much for having me.
So grateful to have you all here with us, and we're looking forward to you all also joining us for the Power to Soar Leadership Conference that's coming up August the 19th through the 21st. I'm so excited that we have powerhouse women that's doing it up. Lolita Anderson, oh my goodness, I'm just so proud of you. You keep on walking in your grace, and right now you brought your entire tribe to help us with this whole real estate space today. We're so honored to have you, beautiful. We're so honored to have you.
Thank you so much, Renee. This has been an absolute pleasure. I know these are some busy women and gentlemen on here. I appreciate your time, Gia, Sheila, Caesar, and Melissa, and of course, the beautiful Renee. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I hope we can add value and keep adding value to the community as we are champions winning on purpose.
I love it. And I want you to come back because what's so great about real estate, guys, this is a space that not only do we want to make sure you stay empowered, but this is the season, right? Isn't this like well, I would say this is kind of like a transitional season. But as Miss Gia, alongside with, of course, Caesar and his beautiful sister, this is the season that you want to get educated. You want to get educated because there's so many opportunities out there. There's so many opportunities. Not only is it opportunities with real estate, but also there's opportunities in the metaverse. That's a whole nother game. And I really want us to talk about that when you come back, Lolita. And we're going to have some other experts to be joining you next time when you join us for our real estate version. Guys, if you enjoyed this piece, I want you to put some hearts in the chat, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Please let the team know just how valuable they were. And you know what, guys? Stay plugged in with them. We're not gone. No, no, no. We have a little bit more for you. Remember how we've been talking about relationships, especially in the clubhouse? Well, you know, every Fridays, we always like to feature the men. How about this? We not only have Pastor Jeff that's going to be joining us, but we also have the women that's going to share their perspective about some of those deep dive questions that he was pouring into the men. It's going to give us the opportunity to also share some insight, some things coming from the woman's perspective. So please stay tuned. We have Pastor Jeff and that amazing Miss Yvette Searson, and you know what? Some other of our specialty guests. We'll be right back, guys. Thank you again, Lolita, Gia, and Sheila. It's been a pleasure. I'm giving you big old hugs. Woo!
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Woo!
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I look forward to your mentorship.
Say it again,
Thank you,
beautiful.
Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back, guys, after these messages.
I'm Renee Noor, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 Magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome.
Welcome back, guys. Here we are right now. This has been an incredible Wednesday. We started earlier with all of our spectacular energy because it's all about winning Wednesday. And now it's time for us to continue on with this whole After Dark series, guys. It's been a wonderful opportunity for us not only to talk about real life experiences, we had the pleasure of also engaging with the real estate segment. And now it's time to talk about relationships. Well, you know what? This gent here, I truly admire him. Not only has he been a true vessel in this whole process of one coming from the clubhouse, but also a true friend. He is the pastor, the voice. He is known as the Reset King. But most importantly, guys, this is a humble man that's doing so much to impact the lives of others. Without further ado, we have the one and the only. We have Pastor Jeff here. Hey, Pastor Jeff, how are you doing? I can't hear that voice. I got to hear that voice, Pastor Jeff. There you go. What'd you say?
All right. How are you on this wonderful Wednesday?
I'm doing amazing, right? Winning Wednesday, and you know you always come out here slaying in those outfits. My God. How are you doing, Pastor Joe?
We're doing wonderful. It's been a great day today. We had a lot going on, and we're ready to get into this conversation about relationships. That's what I do.
Ooh, boy. And let me tell you something. I remember for the past 2 Fridays in that clubhouse, you were setting those streets on fire. Oh man, you literally had totally the men, only the men could have a conversation with you, and the ladies had to be put on pause. Is that right?
Absolutely. You know, we wanted to create the atmosphere like the barbershop or the pool hall for the men, where it's only men. It takes a little while for the men to get warmed up. And once you get them warmed up, if you start to throw questions, then they go back into the cave. But once you get them warmed up, if you allow them to speak, they will start to express and give you information. You know, Steve Harvey talked about that man code, and that's the way to get to the man code.
Well, you did a wonderful job. Well, I think it's really wonderful opportunity for us to bring the ladies in so therefore we can get their point of view. So without further ado, this beauty right here, absolutely love her ever since I was a little girl, okay? A little girl. And I still feel like I'm little inside, you know, Pastor Jeff, but I'm so grateful to have, not only is she's a fearless leader, businesswoman, entrepreneur, a mother, and truly my cousin, Miss Yvette Searson. Woo, 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 woo. Hey,
Hello, hello, hello. How are you two?
we're
Doing
doing
wonderful. How are
wonderful,
you, Yvette?
wonderful.
Simply
Yes,
marvelous,
Miss Yvette.
simply marvelous, darling.
Wonderful, wonderful. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring going to bring that queen right back up to the center panel. That would be the one and the only, our very own mayor, Lolita Anderson. And what we're going to do, Yvette, I'm going to have you to do something a little special for us because I want to get all of you. I want to get you full frame here. We got to get you a full frame. So we're going to have you just to switch your camera just a little bit so we can get all of you, okay? So let's do that. And then we're going to bring our fabulous Miss Lolita Anderson in. And while we're doing that, there we go. Look at Miss Lolita. Woo, 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 woo. Miss Lolita, you just was here and you had an amazing opportunity of being able to share what I'm going to do quickly right here. And then just having to switch it a little bit. And we're going to bring her back up because let me tell you something. See that Yvette Searson? Oh my goodness. Lolita, you've had the opportunity to meet Yvette Searson. Pastor Jeff, you had an opportunity to meet Yvette Searson as well. Tell me, isn't she like the game changer when it comes down to what she does so excellently in insurance?
Absolutely. You know, and that's one of the things that we need to educate our people on. And so we can stop doing the GoFundMe's when it comes to time to take care of our loved ones as they transition from this life as we know it to life everlasting, Renee.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Miss Lolita, you've had the opportunity also of blazing this beauty in your past as well, Miss Lolita. Let's see, where are you, Lolita? Can we hear that beautiful voice of yours? Lolita,
So
can we hear you?
I'm just gonna do a mic check, so
Oh,
I
now
can
we
hear.
can hear you.
Yes. So I can. Yes. Definitely. I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Yes, I was just saying you had the opportunity of meeting that beautiful, lazy Miss Yvette as well, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. We've traveled together with you, so we were bunkies. So, yeah, we think we went to Florida for an event there.
Yes, we did. We actually, yeah, we were in Florida with Grant Cardone and his team.
Yes. Oh, okay. And
So,
she has
Pastor
a
Jeff,
wealth of knowledge.
yes,
Mhm.
Pastor Jeff, you have not only been able to be an influential in our lives of not only bridging the gap with relationships with men and women. What do you feel has been your awakening in a year? What has been your awakening?
Well, dealing with the relationships through what has been termed as a pandemic and with the uh, isolation from the public, isolation from in person meetings, as well as the increased amount of time that couples are spending with each other, with the stress. Uh, all of that adds to uh, more frustration in the relationship. And so that requires more tools to use to foster a effective relationship.
And you know, you're absolutely correct. You know, when we've been able to You know, this pandemic, I feel as if Pastor Jeff has taught us a lot about ourselves. It's taught us a lot about our partners. It's even taught us a lot about just our willpower to determine if we're going to stay in a relationship or not. I'm going to be honest. I noticed a lot of people went through, not only did they go through getting to know their spouses all over again, getting to know their children all over again. You know, it really was one of those moments where we had to do a deeper dive within our inner soul. What do you think about that? Is that true?
Absolutely. These were unprecedented times, and unprecedented times call for unprecedented action. And many people had not experienced, it's going on a little bit past 2 years, and not experienced this type of experience ever in their life. And one of the things that before the pandemic that we've advocated is having, premarital counseling, having marriage or couples what's it maintenance counseling, as well as having that post relationship, because a lot of relationships end, and that requires counseling as well. We also looked at the cost. Really, you can't afford a divorce, so you can't afford not to have counseling, because it costs more for the divorce than it actually costs to invest in the proper type of counseling at the time that you need it, Renee.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. I think we've all kind of experienced those moments. And I'm just so grateful that we're all here together. Let's get that beauty on up here, Miss Yvette. There you are, gorgeous. There you are. You know, you looking over there like your mother. Woo! Yes, you are, beauty. Yes, you are. How are you?
Marvelous. Now that I got my little self together.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, it's so great to have you. As we were talking about these amazing relationships, you too probably have experienced something impactful during this time. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. In terms of relationships, they're very important to me. And I've long started, and I think people become really antsy when they're locked in, and a lot of times we don't know how to really express ourselves. And this is something, Renee, that I've learned in my 50s. Everybody's in your life for a season, and some people for the duration, and that's great if that's the case. But as adults, we have to be able to determine and discern when a season is over for a thing, whether it's a relationship or whatever it is. I know for me, with jobs that I've had in the past, um, when the job started to stress me out or bother me, I knew that that was my sign to look for another job. And it didn't matter how much money I was making or how much I liked the job. Once the stress level began to rise, I'm not one of those people that's going to stay until I get ulcers. I'm not doing that. I'm not staying in a relationship with friends until I get ulcers because they're bugging me that much. So some people, come at you, they kind of nag at your stress level. And for me, that's a no. And so, I will politely exit stage left, in a nice way, never tacky. The mayor know about that. She knows about that. Never tacky.
It's
Yeah.
amazing what you share, because like you said, in your wiser years, we don't have to place ourselves in situations that don't serve us, right?
Right.
We don't
Right.
have to put ourselves in an environment that's not conducive for higher building and build, just really adding value to your core. So I truly understand it. But you said in your 50s, I'm like, what were you talking about? Girl, you look so amazing. Woo! You must sleep upside down like a bat.
It
That's what
it
you
must
do.
run in our
Okay?
genes. It must run in our genes, cousin.
It must run in our genes. Well,
Yeah.
Jeff, you have been the king of reset on that clubhouse. You've been the king of reset, even on the Voices talk show. And right now, we have the honor to have you right here. And you're going to be the king of moderating this conversation because it's going to be all about relationships. And guess what, Yvette? You can answer now because you know on the clubhouse you wasn't able to answer. I know he's like, not today.
And
no
I listened,
today.
and
So
I listened and complied too, didn't I, Pastor Jeff?
Absolutely. I know it was hard, Yvette. She wanted to get that question in. She was ready, but she listened. Absolutely. So what I like to do for tonight, ladies, is let's talk about the different type of relationships that there are. And there are basically 5 relationships that we have in life that are intertwined that may either give us our peace or contribute to our stress. And these 5 type of relationships, they're common, but I don't think we often consider them when we are focusing on a relationship with a mate, but they all intertwine together and are very important. Yvette, you talked about the relationship on your job and knowing when to exit stage left. Well, if you don't know when to exit stage left and there's stress from the professional relationship, that bleeds into your intimate relationship with your mate. And so one of the things that we want to talk about tonight and get your input on is the relationship with our acquaintances, relationship with our professional relationship, that's on the job relationship with our friends. You know, a lot of marriages have been dissolved because of the relationship with friends who were giving unprofessional advice. And a lot of times it's a single person who's giving advice to a married person that does not end up well. And then our family relationship are those who aren't able to cut the proverbial umbilical cord with their families. And so everything that happens in the house goes through the family and then comes back. That absolutely affects the most important relationship. And I left out the spiritual side of the relationship with God. We know that that's there, but right now we're just looking at with our acquaintances, with the work, the professional, the friends, the family, and the mate. So ladies, can you express how has your acquaintance relationship affected your relationship with a mate?
Well, I'll go first. I will say that, because communication in a relationship is so important, if you have really good communications between your relationship with your significant other, then you are able to come home and say, "Hey, I had a rough day. And I know you don't want to hear about it, but I just need some space." And that's something I find that a lot of people don't do. You know, uh, I work in mental health also, in addition to being a life insurance agent. And one of the things that I've always tried to teach people is that it's important to use your words, because a person can't guess what's going on with you. So if you use your words and say, "I'm having a rough day and I don't really feel like communicating right now. I just need some shutdown time." That's something I've always been able to do. And it's not easy for everybody because some people just shut down on the way home. And by the time they get home, either they're not talking, they're not communicating, or hell is ready to break loose because as soon as you say something, they explode, right? So I'm just going to say that it's extremely crucial that two people know how to let each other know when it's a go and when it's a no. When I need time, I need space, because as an individual, there are times that you just need space and you need to process what the day's happenings or something that just occurred. You need to process it instead of just melting in with everybody and being like that bad apple in a bunch, if you will. So I'm going to say, Pastor Jeff, that I think that communications is just crucial because we're not always feeling good. We're not always in good headspace.
That's good, Yvette. And there's 3 areas that I'm gonna ask questions in. And that one of the areas is right communications, and then we'll talk about realistic expectations, and then the righteous rumble. I know everybody wants to know, what is the world is the righteous rumble? That's what we're going to end on. But in that right communication, it's so important, whether it's with the acquaintance, whether it's our professional, with friends, with family, or with our mate, that number one, that we listen to understand versus listening to be heard. And unfortunately, when we haven't been taught how to listen to understand, or we don't have that in our toolbox, we want to be heard.
Yeah.
And if we're not being heard, then we're upset. And when we do get heard, unfortunately, now we've intimidated or we've caused the other person to turn off. And so we won't have what's known as an effective communication. We have communication, but it is toxic communication because somebody's expectations have not been met. Ms. Mayor, what do you say about having right communications and listening to understand versus listening to be heard?
Well, that is such an interesting question. I am of the pretense that I just let you win. I don't have to win to win. I really don't. I allow you to win. I surrender. You win. And I don't mean you win and I mean mugging. I mean you win and I release myself from that. I'm in a season of single and happy and peaceful. And I when I go home from a tumultuous day, I like to listen to birds. I like to listen to nature, and that resets me. Relationships are very important to me in business and friendships and things like that. And the people who understand each other realize I don't have to be, in your face or talking to you every day for us to have a valuable friendship and relationship. So for me, I just like peace, and I just allow you to win. Now, that doesn't mean that you walk over me because you win. That just means I release it and I let you win. And I smile like that. I do.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I'd like to ask, I think I would be correct to make an assumption, which I don't do often, is that each of you have danced. You've listened to music,
What?
and perhaps you even slow dance.
Oh yeah.
And when you slow dance, that only one person can take the lead. And it really doesn't matter who does it, but only one person takes the lead in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are steps, it's choreographed. And when you understand the choreography, the dance goes well, the dance looks beautiful. Other people enjoy the dance as well as you enjoy it. Well, communication is a choreographed dance.
Yeah.
Effective communication, it's in, if we're going to be effective, the sender says what they want to say. And in that speaking, they speak truth versus to accuse. They understand that if I accuse you of something, then you're going to go on the defense and the dance is not going to look well. They also understand that they're going to parrot what they hear because it's important to get understanding that what Yvette said to me, the way I interpret it, I'm going to parrot it back to her to make sure that I heard what she was really saying. And if I didn't hear it, she's going to say, "No, Pastor Jeff, that's not what I was saying at all." Yeah. And so we continue that dance and that choreography until what I parrot back. She said, "All right, Pastor Jeff, now you got it." Now we move forward, and I'm going to share, and we're going to continue. She'll say, "Well, Pastor Jeff, what I heard you say." So it takes some effort. And ladies, how willing are women to put that effort in to having that choreographed conversation versus, I'm going to tell you everything that I want to tell you, and I'm going to ask you 50 million questions, and I'm not going to give you enough time to answer because by the time you get to the first sentence in the first question, I got more questions. How about it, ladies?
I want to pour into the conversation. Interesting. I think it's with any relationship, it's important to have expectations. Expectations are so key to how you start a relationship, and also in that process discuss how you like to be communicated, because one of the greatest things we understand, men are from where? Mars, women are from Venus, and automatically we're going to do things differently. So from the beginning, if you can lay down the foundation in regard to, these are some of the things that I like, these are some of the things that you encourage, this is how I like to be communicated. I feel as if a lot of us could help mend relationships from right from the very beginning. Now, we're not going to always get it right all the time because women are so emotional and we just want to be heard, right? We just want to get all of our words out. But don't get me wrong, because men can also be emotional as well. That's why it's important, I think, to really just have that conversation in regard to not a text message, not an email, but literally a conversation, and do it when it's not in a space that you all are used to being in. My recommendation, take a trip. Go somewhere that's totally isolated. So now you don't have the distractions of what is familiar. You have something that's brand new. And as you lay down those expectations, everything just, you could just visualize greater energy. You know, it's like you're starting to attract even more imagination in regard to what it is that you clearly want to have in your relationship from the very beginning. Most people, I realize that they jump into a relationship way too soon without laying down the foundation. The foundation is so important. Don't jump in the bed with somebody if you really don't even know who they are. And I say that with all respect. Mom used to always say, don't show your toes to every man you meet. And I know the ladies know that so well. So you really got to get into my head, Pastor Jeff. If you can't get into my head with a deep dive conversation, you truly can't even see my pinky, because that's so important. And I value myself. And when you learn to value yourself, value your relationships, value who you are, you'll have more respect in a relationship. And you know what? I like how Lolita said it. It's okay to not always be, have the last word, but always be respectful in a relationship. That's important. Respectful. Nobody slamming no doors over here, and nobody huffing and puffing out the door. And then you come back 3 or 4 days. Oh, no, we don't have time for that. Let's handle it as adults. Because in our wiser years, that's the best remedy we have to do in order for us to maintain our grace and our peace.
Absolutely, Renee. You know, in the clubhouse conversation, we talked about, as we talk about expectations, we talked about the difference in defining that word respect. And that's going to be found out in the expectations. And so typically we've learned that women want security and men want respect. Now, if that's the way that we look for love, but we have a different definition, then I could be providing security, but if that's not what I'm providing, is not the definition of the woman that I'm with, then she doesn't feel completely loved. Her love bank is depleted. And if her definition of respect is agree with everything that I say, which I'm not going to do, then I don't feel respected. So if my love bank is depleted, now you have two people in a relationship who love banks depleted because, as you said, Renee, we haven't come up with realistic expectations. We come into every relationship, whether it be acquaintances, whether it be a professional, whether it be our friends, our family, or with our mate, we have an expectation, and those expectations need to be realistic if we're going to have a wholesome relationship. How do you feel about that, Yvette?
Well, I totally agree with you, Pastor Jeff, because, you know, like as Renee said, it's so important to set expectations. And it's something that a lot of people don't do. When you're younger, you don't know that it's important to set an expectation. And a lot of people just kind of take whatever is dished out toward them. And then we become that 2-liter bottle of Coke that has been shaken up and shaken and shaken, and eventually that bottle is going to release. You open the cap just a little bit, there's going to be an explosion. The soda's just going to spill out all over the place. And that's what happens to a lot of people, all of a sudden, because you kept it in and you didn't express yourself. So the other person didn't know what you expected. They didn't know, what was bothering you because you kept everything inside. Now the explosion happens and it looks like passive aggressiveness or just downright aggressiveness sometimes, Renee spoke of, we're not going to be slamming doors. Yeah, that passive aggressiveness or overly aggressiveness comes out and you slam doors, you use profanity toward each other, calling each other out of your names and, just doing, when I remember in college, some of my friends would scratch up the boyfriend's cars, and I would find out that just never made sense to me. I'm sorry, and I would find out, and I would be like really, that did what? Because what happened still happened. What you're angry about is still going on. So you did that because what? So those kinds of things, that childish play, it just never was something on my radar. But a lot of people do it. And there's some grown folk, in their 40s and 50s that are still acting out like that. And it's because they haven't learned how to express themselves. Now, Pastor Jeff, can you imagine a man coming in Renee Noore's presence and acting out like that because he's upset with her? Can you even imagine?
Not at all. I mean, that's not going to be a pretty scenario.
It's not.
Not at all. But you bring
She
up a
said
good point.
scratching up the cars, Pastor Jeff. She said scratching up the cars. You know what's so crazy? They're still scratching up cars today. If you go onto Facebook, if you go onto IG, if you've seen adults scratching up cars, put 555 in the chat, because one of those crazy things are happening right now. And like you said, Yvette, we haven't truly worked on ourselves in order for us to be able to be in a relationship. We don't even love ourselves. Sometimes we jump into a relationship just to have something to do, as opposed to really being in a relationship for the right reason. It's like, oh, this give me something to do. Give you something to do.
I'm bored. Really? I need a relationship. Yeah.
That type of behavior.
Well, I'm sorry, Pastor Jeff. I just wanted to say, before, if you've been in a relationship and the breakup was really horrific, it's really crucial that you spend time alone for a while. It's crucial that you.
What is the time frame? What is the time frame?
Well, for marriage, honestly, it's 5 years, and that's too long for a lot of people. They jump right into something else. It's 5 years of marriage. I used to do a course called Divorce Care. It's a community course, and so for anybody watching, you could go online and just type in divorcecare.com. And there's also a divorce care for kids. So for the children of divorce, because they're going through a lot too. And they need to know how to communicate what they're feeling and, what's going on inside of them. But it's really important that, as adults, we learn how to just say what we're feeling and say what we mean. But people find that very difficult to do. And then you get the things like acting out, just doing explosive type things.
Yeah,
absolutely. And, that type of behavior is learned. And this again is why it's important to have the counseling with those who can equip you with the tools that you need to have better relationships. Again, whichever one of the 5 relationships that it is. And what I've learned, and this is the way Pastor Jeff puts it, is that we all go into a relationship with baggage. Some have an overnight bag, and some, Lolita, have got a full 10-piece luggage set. Well, when you come into the relationship, we need to unpack those bags. I believe that we'll all have at least an overnight bag when we leave here. But if we've opened it up and we're honest, we know what's in it, our spouse or our mate knows what's in it, and we know how to adjust when we recognize what's coming out of it, then we will avoid a toxic relationship. But those relationships where the woman is scratching up the car, busting out the windows, or the man is punching stuff and tearing up stuff, all of that is learned behavior, and it comes from those who we have been around that we learn. But whatever we learn, our mind is like a sponge. We can wring out that old bad stuff, and we can learn and absorb new behaviors, new ways of responding to those situations that we're not comfortable with. And as we talked about that right communication, one of the things that's very key, and I believe you alluded to that, Lolita, is understanding in the communication process when to take a pause and come back and revisit whatever it is that you're discussing, because at that point in time, you've gotten emotional and you can't have a rational conversation, or you start to rationalize and you're blaming instead of actually dealing with the issue at hand. I mean, ladies, perhaps you are familiar with that conversation that goes like, somebody got upset because you were late picking them up, but the conversation goes all the way 10 years back from in the relationship. And you remember that time that you didn't come get me from mama's house, and then the children got left at the school and they had to call us. And not only, I mean, and you just go through an entire litany over what's happened in the past, when that's not the issue. The issue is what happened this particular time. How about that, ladies?
You know, that's that passive aggressiveness that we were talking about earlier. When you don't express, say what is bothering you. Words are very important, and you've got to know how to use them. And so a lot of people don't know how to say, "It made me feel ashamed when you exposed something about me in front of our friends." We don't know how to say that because we don't know how to identify that the feeling was shame, or we don't know how to identify that the feeling we felt was disappointment or hurt or agitation. And so if you don't know how to identify what it is you're going through, then you don't express it. And so the other person essentially doesn't know that that's what happened to you. So typically in relationships, things happen in an exchange of words and actions, and the other person doesn't even know, because maybe that first person didn't even intend for it to come out that way, but it did. So if you don't express to that person, this is how that made me feel, and know how to identify what it felt like, what you were thinking at the time, then the other person goes without knowing. And so they just go merrily about their way, like everything is okay. They don't understand why you all hemmed up, and so now you're upset because they don't understand that you should be upset. Well, that's not fair. That's not fair to cast that on someone else, that they should know what you're feeling. And I say those kind of things to people all the time. You are casting an unfair view or perspective on another person. If you don't engage and let them know, then you're going to be boiling inside. And so the explosiveness will happen. The explosion is going to happen.
Absolutely. And that brings me to the third point.
I think Lolita want to answer that also, Jeff. I think
Okay.
Lolita want to pour into that.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead,
For me, I am a huge communicator, and I think in life we must give ourselves permission to be human, and being human, we experience things that hurt our feelings, and we haven't given ourselves. I don't know if it's cultural. I don't know if it's what it is that somehow we've missed it, where we're giving ourselves permission to feel human when something hurts our feelings. For whatever, I know if I feel like somebody or something is being dismissive towards me, or disingenuous. That's a trigger for me, and it is because I feel as if that they're not hearing me, I'm not valued, whatever. And that may not be the case at all, but that's my real genuine feelings. And I'm a land with when I always have the Kobe Bryant scenario and story. I'm like, man, what was the last thing Kobe was thinking about, in his tragic situation? What was the last conversation him and his wife had? Did they have dinner the night before? Did they make love that night? Did they kiss each other before he walked out the door? At that point, did any of the other small pebbles really matter at that point? Did it really matter? For real. So that I feel very strong with my daughters. They were not allowed to have not disagreement, but argue all over the house. Even when I was married, we couldn't do that. You couldn't just run all over the house and argue. You had to stay right there in front of me, and we have to discuss it. That way, we're disarm people, because you'll get down to the real deal of what's really going on. And that's how I feel in life and business. I like to know what we're really talking about, because the truth is way more interesting than what people be trying to make up with tantrums. The makeup part is tantrums. So the tantrums is supposed to distract me. I know. Let's get to it. So I just want to add that because I feel strong.
I love that. I want to pour into that also, Pastor Jeff, because unfortunately, when we hold on to the past that have hurt us, we start having resentment. We start having resentment for something that the other person probably don't even know that they even had, so it's so important for you to not only understand the healing process, but the forgiveness process. You sometimes have to, once you get to a certain age in your life and you're still holding on and holding on, it's like you're going to stay stuck in that constant going backwards as opposed to pushing yourself or thrusting yourself forward. And I know I've even experienced it where it's like things that happen in our child life. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And that's what happened with some people, where you're throwing things on another person that truly have no clue. And that's a constant emotional detachment, that you have to do, because it's almost like once you get to a point in your life, you want to be able to not only embrace the people that are around you. You don't want to hurt anyone, right? But unfortunately, that's what's happening. We're hurting each other because we're holding on to something that's in our past that's pulling us backwards, as opposed to us cutting that ribbon to thrust ourselves forward. And not only that, we truly don't know the real word of forgive. Forgive means just that. Forgive. Forgive yourself for allowing someone to hurt you, but also forgive the person who you felt hurt you or who has hurt you. And when you're able to release that kind of energy and really let it go, because a lot of people say, oh, I forgive you, but they don't never let it go. And they keep resurfacing that same negative energy. So they're still holding on to it. So unfortunately, that's that resentment that we have to really be careful about. And that not only just be from a personal standpoint, but also in business as well. So communication is like so essential right across the board. When adults have better communications, their kids are going to have better communications because they're going to mirror what they see. Hopefully, that should be the answer.
Well, Renee, what I'm hearing you ladies say is a conglomerate of the communication, relationship styles, expectations, conflict resolution. So you got into how to resolve the conflict, and that's where I talk about the righteous rumble. And Renee, you talked about forgiveness. We could do an entire segment on forgiveness. I would be interested in all of those who are listening, those who are watching. If you know what your forgiveness language is, put 555 in the comments. You don't have to share it with us, but if you know what it is, put 555. And if you don't know what it is, put 111. Every one of us have a forgiveness language. And if we don't know what it is, then it's probably going to be difficult for us to go through the forgiveness process. But as Yvette talked about the conflict resolution, one of the things that we need to do is, first of all, is understand that there's going to be some conflict in a relationship. How do we resolve it so that it benefits both people who are in the relationship? Again, regardless of whether it's just an acquaintance, a professional, friend, family, or a mate. As Lolita talked about expressing her feelings, one of the things that we should come to a realization of is that our feelings are our feelings, and we don't have a right to devalidate anybody's feelings. What we do as an individual, as Yvette spoke to, we need to know how to identify, Renee, what our feelings are. So if I'm feeling a certain way, if I'm feeling shamed, I'm going to ask myself, Pastor Jeff, why are you feeling shamed? And through that process, is it because of something that's internal with me? Is it because of something that I see in someone else? And once I can identify why I'm feeling shame, then I can identify, is it a valid feeling for me? And if it's a valid feeling for me, then I can express that to you. But if I can't validate it, then I need to say, you know what? I'm feeling shame, but there's really no reason for me feeling shame. This is not about you. Right now, this is about me. This is the time to take a pause. Let me go get myself together, and then we can come back and have this conversation.
I like
we're,
that,
we're,
you know.
we're talking about doing something that's really rational, and it comes with life experience. So, you know, what you're sharing, Pastor Jeff, is where we are in our age range, because now we make sense of things. Whereas, you know, when we were younger, we just kind of went through life and just grabbed at straws a lot of times. But I think a lot of younger people, especially now, are really self centered. Everybody is more self inflated. And it's always the other person's fault. It's always that person did this to me. It's always, I don't like how you made me feel. And so instead of listening, you know, you fight back at the person because it's their fault. And so that's why we deal with so much anger now. Everybody's angry. You know, they're people just you know, do things out of the ordinary because they're so angry. I was in a mall the other day, and a lady was on her cell phone as she came into the mall, and she had about a 3 or 4 year old child walking beside her. And this lady came into the mall talking very loudly, just as boisterous as you want to imagine, and using profanity. And she's just engaged in a conversation as though she was in her home. And you know, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, whoever it is, she's upset with them. But I wonder if you could have just stayed in your car and had that conversation. But no, because I'm me and I get to do what I want to do. And you can't tell me anything about it. And how dare you? So I know all of you can attest to this. There was a time when you could say something to a young person and kind of put them in check. And they would, you know, yes, ma'am. But now, if you say something to these people, they will go off and you know, maybe may even try to harm you. You don't know, but they will go off in such a way. So no one wants to hear it. No one wants to have the finger pointed at them, you know. And so a lot of people are suffering from narcissism. And so if you're a narcissist, you think you're right anyway. Everybody's wrong. You think the whole light is supposed to be on you. So, you know, I think a lot of that is going on. And I really do believe since COVID-19, you know, personalities have been skewed even more. So it's just something we have to deal with.
I think it's poor etiquette as well. We have lost not we, our generation has come from avid etiquette. And etiquette is not just yes ma'am and no ma'am, but it's definitely preferring someone else in a public situation. And they've just not learned that. Like you said, I didn't realize narcissism was so that you just think you're right. I didn't know that that's what a narcissist is. But and that's how I feel. And I think even with GW3, other groups that I am a part of, that's teaching and grooming young men and young women in the area of etiquette, because it's so important, because you know how to have a conversation, how to dialogue, how to exchange in a conversation, versus like what Pastor Jeff was saying. We're talking just to get we're not listening to conversation. We're just waiting for our chance to say something. So it's so powerful to be able to have etiquette and good manners.
Yeah, we had Renee. I'll tell you, when we were growing up, we had debutante balls.
Oh yeah,
in New Orleans. You know, people made their debuts, and so you were taught etiquette. You were taught how to respond to questions, even, you know, how to think on your feet. You were taught how, you know, to have certain mannerisms as a lady, and you don't really hear of those kinds of things anymore. No one has time to do these types of things. So it's just, you're right.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You know, Yvette, you brought back so many great memories. One of the greatest things also, remember guys, when we were in our wives, when we were younger, we also took the time to have conversations at home. We took the time to sit down at the dinner table and listen to each other. Now we're at this fast pace that all we want to do is jump on our cell phones, get onto social media. We really don't really take the time to cultivate true relationships by listening to what's going on. I go to dinner and I see people on their cell phones all the time. It's like, wait, didn't you come here to have dinner? You would think people could put that on pause just for a little while. But no, unfortunately, the world that we're in is just constant. We're not even in the same space. We're not in as we said, living in the moment. A lot of us are not living in the moment because we're too busy worrying about who's on the cell phone, or we're too busy worrying about other things. And one of the greatest things we had, Yvette, was relationships with our family.
Yeah.
We absolutely did not have a television in the living room nor in the dining room. And when you went to bed, you didn't have a television in the bedroom either. You only had 2 televisions back in the day. Your parents never had a television, and you had one in the den, and that was it. And you could not go to sleep watching television. You had to go to bed in the dark. You know, those are some of the things that right now people go to bed, literally, they turn on the television, put a movie in, and then they go to sleep. It's like, really? You know, so we're just totally discombobulated when it comes down to real relationships, because we get so sucked up in also what we see on TV that's not even real. And our poor kids are totally lost. They are so lost. That's why it's important for us not only to have these dialogues, but also to have even come to a board table with the kids, because our kids are hurting right now. They are hurting. Just last month, I spoke with over 200 of our youth right there in New York City. And you know what? They were putting in the chat. I said, so what are some of the things that you guys are going through? Anxiety, fear. I mean, not happy with myself. I'm like, what? You're not even 19 years of age. They're already going through stress. And I don't know about you all, but the only stress I was having as a young child was making sure I stay on the honor roll. That was it. Right now, kids are just dealing with way too much on their shoulders, on their plate. And we as adults, we have to help them. We truly have to help them. And again, we have to help the parents as well to have better and stronger relationships.
Yeah. And you bring up a really good point about the kids. My son said some things, and I felt disrespected by what he said. This was maybe 6 months ago or so. And so he came over one day and he just started talking like nothing had happened. And we hadn't spoken really since. And so I said to him, I said, don't you think you owe me an apology, son? He's like, for what? And I said, you disrespected me. And so he said, well, I'll apologize, Mom, if you think I need to. I said, oh, no, 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 no. I want you to apologize because you feel bad for hurting your mother, even if you don't understand the fact that it upset your mother. And I'm telling you it did. You owe me an apology, if for no other reason for that. And so he apologized and he did this. All right, Mom, I'm sorry. And I said, no, son, no, sir. You're looking at your cell phone. You are not sincere. I want you to apologize to me, not to the phone. And I want it to be sincere, or you can go back out the door. And that might have been a little harsh because he's a grown man, and you think, okay, let it go. Let it go. No. Because if he treats me that way, he'll treat a female that way.
You're helping another mother. You're helping another. Helping. You are.
Yeah.
I had a tenant. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Jeff. Well, no. Someone was saying. Go ahead, Pastor Jeff.
One of the things that, as I'm listening to you share, is that each generation we're taught what a relationship looks like. We're taught what expectations that we should have. And as you talked about the stress, Renee, each generation ends up with less stress. And if you work out, if you're going to be a bodybuilder, you have to have stress to build your muscles. Our youth today, because we to communicate through social media and through the internet, we didn't have all of that. So how do we communicate? We had to communicate by talking to one another. But now you can do a FaceTime. Right now, we're talking to people all over the world from the comfort of our own spaces. We weren't able to do that. So with that comes a lack of learning how to have a conversation with somebody directly, how to respect a person, how to understand what I feel, how I feel, and not put that on someone else. How not to go into the characteristics of a narcissist of it has to be all about me. The spotlight has to be on me, because we understand that it takes two people to have a relationship. So these things have to be retaught. These things we have to realize that if I don't have the tools, my car gets a check engine light on it and I'm not a mechanic, I need to take it to a mechanic that can read the code, determine what's wrong with it, has the tools to go ahead and fix it. And this is why talking to a professional, and I'm going to say professional because unfortunately, and I'm just going to say this, a lot of pastors take just the fact that they have a title of a pastor does not make them a clinician or qualify them to do relationship counseling or coaching, Renee. So is there a question before we close, Renee, that the ladies wanted to ask the men and you weren't able to, and I can stand in for a moment and ask as this man?
I have a question, Pastor Jeff.
Yes.
Since I didn't get to ask on the call the other day. So, a lot of times men, because they're very internal, they keep a lot of things to themselves. My question is, how do you get a man to express when something is bothering him emotionally? Or should you just leave him alone and just wait? I mean,
that's a very good question. And it's an individual question. So the first thing that you want to do is to gauge his emotional intelligence. If this is a man who has been cultured and trained that men don't show their emotions, that men don't cry, men just suck it up, that's a man that is going to have to be reprogrammed. And so the way to do that is to create an atmosphere to where he's comfortable. you'll have to verbalize and not push him to open up and tell his feelings, but you'll have to verbalize that I understand on your job that you have to suck it up. I understand that perhaps you've been taught that men don't cry, but I am your mate. And this is a space that I'm not going to judge you. This is a space that is safe for you to cry if that's what you need to do. And that'll take time, and allow him to be able to express as he feels comfortable. And if he's comfortable with it, he'll start to express more. Men, we do have emotional intelligence. We also have feelings, but we've been cultured that men don't cry, men suck it up, men don't whine. So, and there's a difference between a whining man and a man who's in touch with his emotional intelligence. I'll share with you, when I go to a movie, almost every movie I watch, there's going to be a scene in that movie that tears are going to come to my eyes. And it's because of the way that I process it. And I have no problems with that. You know, it doesn't mean that I'm a weak man. It actually means that I'm a stronger man, because I'm able to allow my emotions to be expressed without worrying about how people judge me. Does that give you a bit of an answer, Yvette?
No, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll say
Lolita,
this
did you have a question?
Yeah. Lolita, do you have a question?
No, I'm just listening, because I'm quite often in the man cave. So I've had the privilege of interacting with men on so many different levels. And it's such a privilege to work with men in business, especially Black men, and just men in general. But you all are just kind of hot dog and bun. There's no mustard, ketchup. That's it. So when you get that, that's really how you're wired. It helps you understand different things, and we're not hopping around like a little bunny rabbit. He didn't say that. He did say that. So I get it, and I appreciate having this conversation.
Yeah, it's, each of us are different. There are some things that are general to men, but each of us have our own way of coming out of what we call our man cave. So I would say most of us have a man cave. One of the worst things that you can do is because of the way that you've been cultured, and a man comes out of his cave, is for you to snap at him or ridicule him. He's going to go back in, and you may never get him to come back out. And so the ladies need to re-educate themselves, as well as to understand, when my man is vulnerable, not to go into the way I've been cultured and say, oh, you a man, suck it up. Or what you crying for? I ain't seen nothing to cry about. When you do that, you've shut him down. If my wife was to tell me, and she has said some things, and it caused me to shut down. But I'm at a point now, as you said, Yvette, in my life now, with my wife, anybody, I know who Pastor Jeff is. I'm gonna be Pastor Jeff, and I don't let anybody push their expectations and their judgment. I don't let that change who I am. I cry at movies. I cry at movies. That's point blank. I see something in the movie that you don't see, so you don't even know why I'm crying. You don't know what touched me, and you don't know my entire story. And so I'm sensitive in the fact of what happens to people because of what's happened with me, and because of my travel of seeing the world and seeing how different people live throughout the world, understanding, processing people who attack the garbage truck to get food. And then if I see something that moves me, I'm going to allow tears to come to my eyes. Besides the fact that, there's the shortest scripture in the Bible for those who read the Bible and subscribe to it. The shortest scripture is one of the most powerful scriptures, not only for men, but for women. And that is in the book of John. It says Jesus wept or Jesus cried. That's the shortest scripture.
Period.
Is so powerful. Jesus, when he cried, he knew that within minutes he was going to raise his friend Lazarus from the dead. A woman would say to him, what are you crying for? You're getting ready to raise the man from the dead. What's up with that? But the fact that he allowed his emotions, he allowed his connection to his friend, regardless to who was around, who was watching, he allowed it to be expressed. They gave every man the authority to allow his emotions to be expressed. Because if you tell Jesus he can't do it, but since we can't tell him that, if he could do it, every man can, and no woman should down a man or ridicule a man that's not whining.
Yes.
If I come home and I'm whining, you have a right.
Totally different. Oh yeah.
You have a right
You
to
know,
say something.
yeah.
But if I'm just expressing my feelings because I can't talk to anybody on the job because I have to keep the job, I can't express my feelings if in the church because they expect me to have a certain rigidity and a certain leadership aspect. I ought to be able to come home and lay my head in my woman's lap and tell her exactly how I feel. And even if she says, "Baby, I can't understand, but I'm here for you. Just tell me how you feel."
Mhm.
And when
Absolutely.
you finish, there's no judgment.
You know, guys, we are having such a great conversation. And I will also add this, Jeff, Pastor Jeff, I want a man who releases his energy through tears. I want a man who truly shows his vulnerability as well as who don't mind giving me his heart when the time is right. And as Pastor Jeff said, please, no whiners. Please, no whiners. Trust and believe. We've had some whiners before, and we don't want the whiners, but we truly want those men who know how to not only, express themselves, but ladies, we have to be a lot more softer when a man show you who he is. It's okay. We just have to embrace it. Don't call him no punk or anything like that. Embrace this man. Because as you heard from Pastor Jeff, you just never know what he may be going through at that moment. Just like with us, let's just be realistic. We've lost our parents, we've lost a child, maybe a dear friend. And even with us still till today, we can experience some of those moments. And you know what? Those tears, mom used to always tell me, it's healthy to cry. It is healthy to cry. It is so, so healthy to get it out. But know this, guys, we have to work harder on these relationships. If you're in agreement with me that for 2022, you're going to be not only intentional, you're going to have more care for others, but absolutely embracing each other. Because, guys, we have all that we've got. Yeah. You're the only Yvette Searson. You're the only Lolita Anderson. You're the only Pastor Jeff. We have the only Renee Noor and the only Linnell Burns. And we're not going to get a double copy of us. There's not going to be well, maybe they can clone us. But guys, we are the original. And because you're the original, not only do you want to take care of yourself, but you got to take care of your loved ones. You have to take care of your loved ones. Pastor Jeff, Yvette Searson, Lolita Anderson, today has been not only powerful, oh my goodness, the chat, we have so many messages in that chat right now, and I'm just grateful that we've taken the time to kick this night off. Not only is it business after dark, but you know what? This is sort of like our sweet spot. It's Winning Wednesday, and we're closing it down right here because it's all about relationships. So, Pastor Jeff, can you leave us with some words of wisdom? Yvette, can you leave us with some words with wisdom? And then Lolita Anderson, can you please leave us with some word with wisdom as we close out this segment of relationships with Business After Dark? Pastor Jeff, take it away.
Thank you, Renee. The words of wisdom that I have for you today is to come to grips with the only person that you can change in life is you. And if you work on you, then perhaps you can foster the change for someone else. I believe it was the great late poet Maya Angelou who said that people will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. That's my words of wisdom. Now, look, nobody told you today, you have an absolutely beautiful smile. Go smile at yourself. I guarantee in the mirror. I guarantee yourself is going to smile back at you. Go share that joy with the world. This is Pastor Jeff.
I want to keep it short because I know it's late, but the Bible says, in all thy getting, get an understanding. And the relationship between people requires an understanding. And you've got to understand yourself first, and then you can understand the other person. So it's important that we seek God and ask Him to show me me. I do that all the time. God, just show me me. So get an understanding of who you are and what you stand for, and then seek understanding outside of yourself. Thank you.
There we
You're
go.
on mute.
Getting a salad or something like that. I asked the cashier lady. I said, "What did the person order behind me? I mean, whatever." I said, "How much was their bill?" And I said, "I want to pay it." And so she said, "Well, it's $12." I said, "Okay." I said, "But when tell them to honk their horn when they get to you to let me know that they know I did it." And she said, "Why do you want to do that?" I said, "Because I can and I want to. And sometimes random acts of kindness, it disarms some of that shallow ground that we're dealing with in our emotions. And I would just encourage people to do that. I know I say champions win on purpose because we do. And just something random like that, it doesn't have to be, somebody out on the street and homeless and all that. That's important too. But just something random. And it makes people feel good for no reason. And I think I want us to get back to feeling good about being around each other, about seeing each other, about disagreeing, about agreeing, and just doing this thing called life together. So that's what I'd like to leave.
And you know what, guys? God is saying this for you today, right now, this split second. I need you to get excited about you again. I need you to get excited about life. I need you to get excited about pouring into his people. That's right. Because you can make a change just by impacting, not only taking care of yourself internally with that self-love and that self-care, but also pouring it out amongst his people, guys. We're in the best season. This is your season. This is your time. And we need you to not only to fall in love with you, but to fall right back in love with God's people. So lean into me and tell me you will. Lean into me and tell me you will make an impact to change someone else's life. Guys, we've been so grateful to have you here for the entire Winning Wednesday. And not only are we grateful to have you here, we're looking forward to pouring right back into you on tomorrow from 12 to 2. That's right, 12 to 2, because it's all about GW3 Global Club doing our part to be intentional, to be consistent, and to do the work of what God asked of us to do. We're working in our gifts. Please make sure you get in contact with Jeff. Jeff, how can people get in contact with you? Please share.
Renee, they can contact me at www.i-inspire.club, CLUB, or you can catch me on IG at jeff.moffitt.50 and Jeff Moffitt on Facebook.
Miss Yvette Searson, how can I get in contact with you, beauty?
Well, there's meetyvettesearson.com. That's one way. Or just straight to Instagram with Yvette Searson. Plain and simple.
I love it. And the mayor, how can they get in contact with you?
You can get in touch with me. It's LA Properties, LLC.com, or LA Properties and Consulting, LLC.com. I'm forward to serving you.
And we're looking forward to hearing from you through GW3 Global Club Global Club. You contact us there. Also, we're right here from the Clubhouse to the Facebook as well as Instagram. We're grateful that you guys have joined us for this evening. And you know what, guys? Let go of the stress. Let go of everything that don't serve you and where you're going. Because you know why? Your better version of yourself need you to be as excellent as possible. So we need for you to show up better than what you did on yesterday. It's your season. It's your time. Thank you guys again for joining us for Business Life Lessons After Dark. See you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you, guys.
I'm Renee Noor.
Wakanda forever!